Let's get it, guys.
Good timing, Paul. I mean, I think you've only been able to do that once before, and it was when you T-posed on our very first session.
Memories.
But we are not there. We are now 42 sessions in. Which
Jesus.
is still, I genuinely can't believe, and I feel like I'm just going to keep counting the sessions every time we keep going, because this is very strange. Yes, we are on session 42, which is the most sessions I think I've ever actually ran for a campaign continuously. And you boys at this point are the highest level I've ever ran for continuously.
Oh shit.
Obviously I've done higher
an
level
order.
I've done higher level games, but they've always been one shots. I genuinely think from 1st to 13th you guys are the highest level I've taken.
I think this is the highest level I've ever played at.
We're gonna keep getting higher.
I know. As I welcome you all back to Twisted Fates, and well, there's not actually much to recap from last session. Until we jump straight back into it, as you boys got to meet Azariah, or had met Azariah. She wasn't really quite what you had expected, and she kind of gave you her permissions to get ready to go over the wall, giving you the assessments of her watchmen to at least get you down onto the ruins of the first rampart, where you kind of spent that early afternoon, the last few hours you had, picking up supplies from a relatively passive-aggressive wizard named Savelis, and for Ranagash, getting to see his mother before he went over the wall, where you got to learn some very interesting things about Sinmaya and Azariah. Before...
He learned too much.
Maybe.
By Ranagash's own impression, I think he learned too much.
As during that conversation as well, he also got to be a bit of a bastard and not hand over Sinmaya.
He's gotten used to the cat.
I am called Ranagash the Bastard. I have to be a bastard sometimes. It's how I keep. I need to keep the title.
That's true. Just Ranagash the doesn't really sound right.
No, it doesn't.
The Ranagash. The Ranagash.
The Ranagash. As you guys did eventually get over the wall. We're not going to talk about the cuts that had to be made from that section, are we, Ewan?
We experienced a different reality.
As the reality you all experienced at home is very different from the one we first experienced as the boys went over the wall.
You see, we simply D4C'd into a different universe with the power of my stand.
Wow,
Filthy act at a reasonable price.
Wow, they really are really cheap.
As the four of you got over the wall, got into the mists, and rather than taking the risk to go through a section of unknown territory, likely through the Blights, and trying to avoid as much of a fight as you could, you took to the southern mountain ranges to travel along those hills and delves as far as you could before you were forced back into the mists, where Eidolon asked Wolfric to almost promise him that if he was to get distracted, if he was to get emotional, if he was to try or about to do anything stupid, that Wolfric stop him. It was quite convenient this promise was made, as when they actually got back into the valleys and back into the mists, a few faces started to become familiar. More so as they started to move through, where Eidolon got a glimpse of his wife, or at least the state that
Sadly, but
or at least the state she had been left in after the incident, where very ingenious use of cam emotions, Ewan. Wolfric was able to kind of snap Eidolon out of it, if only for a little while, as they got the chance to run to try and dodge, but they weren't entirely lucky, as the Blights were able to catch up and they were able to find them, where they ended up in a confrontation between them and some Northul, though it didn't seem entirely unintentional or just a mere coincidence, as during their fight in the fray to escape, the wolf appeared, where my party is now split, as high in the sky on the back of Snapdragon is Wolfric and Marcusar, flying as far as they can and as fast as they can to try and get away from the ancient Northul under the wolf's command, and Eidolon is on the ground. Where is Ranagash, you ask? He is currently falling.
He's like halfway between the sky and the ground.
I would say he is aware of the fact he is falling, but he is also unconscious. So Matthew might not be here for very long if Eidolon doesn't catch him.
I've already taken my measures to try and catch him, but we'll see how those go.
It's like the highest dexterity save
Because
imaginable.
I know you're just unconscious, and usually, like, you know, one accumulative damage is usually just one failed death save, but you are also falling from a very, very high feat.
Just to double check this, does fall damage cap at 20d6?
Fall damage does cap at 20d6.
Okay,
yeah.
that's good, because I did the math last time, and 20d6 only has a 1.5 chance of rolling above my max hit points. But now that I've said that percentage, it might happen.
Of course it will, Matthew.
Matthew's
Who
like,
do you think we are?
Matthew's like, tell me the odds. I know the odds. I control the odds.
I mean, technically he could control the odds if he was awake right now,
Yeah.
because you do have a 22.
What are your portents right now, Matthew?
I have a natural 22 and a natural 1.
Yeah.
These are good.
So it's good numbers, just not very useful when he's unconscious. As, at least for the first half of today, hopefully, I say first half because I'm really hoping you boys reconvene at some point. At least it will kind of be jumping between the two, as I have the aerial team and I have the ground team. As you're going to be getting chased through the... You're going to get chased through the wastes. And Wolfric has the short end of the stick because he's stuck with Marcusar.
Hey,
Ouch.
I resemble that remark.
Resemble? Resemble?
It's like, instead of saying I resent it, it's more recognizing it, but like, fair, but I don't like it.
I'm still on Snapdragon, right? Snapdragon's
Yes.
still alive, and I'm still on him.
Snapdragon's still up. You guys are still flying. You are still dashing as you're going, and you're still with Marcusar on the back of him.
What about my eagles? I think one of them got taken down. Is one
Eddie
still up?
2!
Yeah, is Eddie 2 down?
Eddie 2 is down.
Eddie 2 down.
Eddie 2 and Eddie 1 are both technically still up, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
But they're not looking good, if I also remember correctly. I'm pretty sure Eddie 1 is on 12 HP and Eddie 2 is on 5.
Okay. If it wasn't said last session, they would probably still be following the last command I gave them, which was to follow Snapdragon.
Or at least they'll be trying.
They'll be trying. They're God bless them. They're trying. She blessed them.
As leaving my boys in the air for now, we're going to jump to ground team, as that's a little bit more pressing right now, considering Ran is suspended in the air. As Eidolon, you are also shrouded in darkness, but that is not much of a concern for you as you're still able to see through it. The North Owl obviously attempting to inhibit your sight, to inhibit your movement, possibly prevent you from being able to catch Ran. Doesn't really go to plan, as it can't really, or it doesn't know that you can see through it.
Is it an athletics check? Because I'm kind of grappling him.
Technically yes, but he'd automatically fail it, so as long as you can, like, you know, roll above 10 for me.
So luckily my modifier for this is plus 10.
You can still roll in that one.
I still can.
Don't jinx it.
That's a 15. That's
There we
not
go.
in that one.
Excellent.
Fuck me, I
As
use this.
can you give me flat strength as well? So just your strength.
That is a nat 20, so 25.
There you go. That was just to see if you could control his descent, because it's all fine and well catching him, but you could also just, especially since you're using
Turn
using
her around
tentacles.
middle and pile drive him into the ground. RKO.
Yeah, so you are able to grapple him, you are able to get him, you obviously reach up with your tentacles, giving you that little bit more of a reach. And as you do so, you are at least able to control his descent so that you're not, one, stopping him mid-air, because that would also just make him take damage, and two, pile driving him into the ground, because that would also make him take damage. You kind of were able to slow him enough that it's probably not the most comfortable fall in the world, but at the same time, that doesn't really matter because he's unconscious and he can't tell. Thank
He
you.
just wakes up and he's like uncomfortable but doesn't know why.
Yeah, like things ache, things are probably a little bit bent, doesn't feel good, everything feels sore. You kind of feel a
my
little
bones.
sick.
Is it still my turn?
It will be in 2 wee seconds, as I will assume that you will heal him. Yes.
Yes. Sorry, it's just like I'm trying to work out, is this like a regular turn order, or is this just like, is this a carryover from last time?
It will be more of a carryover from last time in terms of a more figurative turn order, at least for the moment. As actually, what I'll let you do is, if you are going to heal him, I'll let you heal him, and then I'll just do a description for Matthew before he wakes up.
Because
That'll be a better turn order.
I still have my action to use, which I know I want to use that for. As bonus action, whatever these salves are, slather it over the Ramagesh. Hey, Matthew, that's minimum.
You know what? It's 2 more than 0.
So you know how you were saying, like, 2d6 is great, like it's better than what you could like hope for, it's just enough, like.
If it was like 1d, like if it was 1d12, that could have just been 1 hit point.
Mm-hmm.
You would shut up.
There was a 1 in 36 chance of that rolling minimum, and it happened.
It's only because it was for you, Matthew.
That's he rolled in that 20 immediately before, so it's just the law of
I'll
equivalent
take
exchange.
the nat 20 on catching you.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't die.
Matthew said Han Solo's a punk ass bitch, always tell me the odds.
I'm anxious. I need to know.
Chance to blow.
As at least holding your action for now, because will your action occur when Ranagash is awake?
Yes, preferably.
Then yes, holding your action for now. I get to do something I've not actually done in a little while, which is quite strange. Which Matthew can take one way or the other, it's up to himself. Is we get to go into the mind of Ranagash.
Oh no, I don't like it in
Having
here.
a vision.
We're in the Mine Palace, but like the back alley Mine Palace.
The numbers, Mason!
There are no numbers involved with this one, which is strange, as usually there are numbers involved. As you obviously unaware that you are falling, descending, you are aware that you were hit, at least to some degree. However, this one, perhaps it was due to your unconsciousness, you're not too sure, isn't a clear vision, it's not a I guess fluid movement, fluid motion through time. You're not a character of anything. This is more like stills or snapshots. Flashes. Essentially you, and yeah.
I was about to make that joke, but okay.
And if you hit the ground, it would have essentially been death by PowerPoint. As you're not too sure which order these images seem to fall in, or whether they are past, present, or future. Some of them you can at least make the assumption. I obviously won't tell you which ones are which, but I'm kind of making the assumption of the assumption that hopefully Matthew can work it out.
That's a very big assumption there.
As all of the images seem to be of the same place. As you're not too sure where this location is, but it seems to be, at one point it seems to be in a field. Kind of rolling hills cover the backgrounds of it, as a very large tree seems to grow in the centre. Where surrounding the tree seems to be a spring, fed from the ocean. However, the murky seawater turns crystal clear, as it seems to flow into this little pond, as the tree sits in the centre. And surrounding this tree seems to be dragons. They seem to almost be gathering around this tree. As you kind of get another flash, and all of a sudden the tree seems to be buried underground. The water still seems to be crystal clear, but the area around it seems to be a lot darker. There are also no dragons, but there seems to be almost ruined pillars surrounding it, as if something is caved in around it and has now created this almost man-made cavern in the ground, burying it deep beneath the earth. Though the tree seems undamaged, not wilting, still seems to be full of life and blooming in whatever environment this has. Where again your head seems to spiral and it flashes again, where the tree is still encased but not in a cave or a cavern or in ruins. You can see the almost light pouring through stained glass windows, creating this kaleidoscopic colouring throughout the leaves, almost sending it shimmering and shining, as amongst the dragons and amongst their eggs there appears to be other races: humans, elves, dwarves, tieflings, even a few almost half-breeds, sort of orcs, half-orcs, with the demon folk almost angelic folk, and even some gnomes and halflings. There's a myriad of different people here, all seeming to be gathered, and all seeming to be gathered around a collection of figures that, well, only one of them really seems to be of any note to you. Well, actually, no, only one of them would be any note to you, as 3 of them are completely unrecognisable, though people seem to be at least listening to them. The one that is recognisable is a 4th one, a woman, garbed very simply and with very, very long hair, seemingly decorated with leaves and laurels from possibly the tree, but possibly elsewhere as well. She seems a very natural woman, standing next to 3 kind of faceless figures of varying heights and shapes, where it seems to flash again, and whilst remaining in this almost temple, it seems to be that there is a state of commotion in this snapshot, as there is smoke, there is fire, there is ruin, and there is ash, where, like the windows and like the pillars surrounding it, the image almost seems to shatter, as this is the first still, I guess, that seems to start moving, as whatever seems to break the image seems to be possibly rubble, possibly ruin, almost like a piece of pillar or stone that is being chucked aside and almost thrown through it, causing it to shatter into 1,000 tiny pieces and give you another image of the trees. Back into this cavern, though now it is in quite a state of disrepair, or at least the area around it is. The tree is still perfectly fine, almost untouched by time and the devastation around it, but the little island that it sits upon is now covered in junk. It is covered in clutter, where you could perhaps assume it was a dragon's hoard, but nothing here is of any value. It is spoons, plates, bits of stone with interesting pictures on it, ripped parchment, interesting paintings that are missing their frames, or even frames that are missing their paintings. Bits of clothes or apparel that seem to be torn and stripped and fashioned into, well, something that could perhaps be a bit more comfortable. You'd dare assume it was a bed, but that's a bit of a stretch. As in your head you can hear clattering as more of the clutter is thrown around, moved around. You can see it out of the corner of your eyes, just almost still images of stuff being chucked, and you can hear the splashing as it's likely being chucked into the water. As clearly someone is moving around here, and in the corner of your eye you can almost swear you can see quite a thin shadow moving around, but it is always out of your line of sight. It always just seems to be in the corner of your eye. Even if you turn to look at it, it's gone, still there in the corner of your eye. As can Ranagash give me a perception check?
Oh boy.
Can he?
Can he?
That's the question.
Let me just copy the 1d20 macro while I'm here. He
Hey!
can.
As the last thing that almost is the vision, the image starts to fade, almost starts to burn out as if someone was burning the Polaroid. Out of the corner of your eye, you can see that this cave entrance, at the maw of it, seeming buried into the earth. You don't see a figure, you don't see a shadow, though it's your eyes that trace and follow it to see this, as you can see the purple mists of Yolvania outside. But for some reason, they can't seem to get into this cave. It's almost like they stop immediately. Invisible wall or not, you're not sure, but they don't even touch the soil at the mouth of this cave. As when it finally burns away and fades, you are in the mists. It surrounds your head, it surrounds your eyes, and you feel incredibly gross as Eidolon's tentacles are grappling you.
Lovely.
As Eidolon, Ranagash is awake.
This would be a chance to remind the samurai that we have a city to burn, but it's not a city that we have to burn. I don't have much to say to him, but more, if I have Ranagash almost just like hoisted in one arm, it would just be like over the shoulder with his head coming over this way so I can look at him to see if he's conscious.
Yeah, he's conscious.
This'll do.
suppose.
Now, let's hope we don't blow up. As he ready his sword against the ground. Ranagash has not been privy to the fact that this has happened. This is going to be Ranagash's first knowledge that Eidolon can now do this with his sword.
Yeah. Enchanted blade.
Just,
As Matthew, I've already humbly asked you.
I was about. It's very funny that Ran has no idea what's about to happen, whereas I have a complete idea what's about to happen.
As I'll take the sword, place it against the ground, facing towards the guy.
Wait,
As
important
I will-
question.
Yeah,
Can I see the guy you're about to do this on?
I'd imagine so. We're not in the darkness anymore.
You would be able to, yes.
Okay, continue.
As I
That would have
project
been
my
really
voice,
awkward.
I project my voice over to him since I can project a voice just to him, and I'd like it to come from behind him, but I know that that might not be possible.
I will give him a perception check.
As all I'll say is, "Eat shit, asshole." As almost like a match, taking the blade against the ground, striking it forward, slashing up. From the ground beneath where we are, where the blades almost like strikes, almost a spark appearing, the ground going towards the guy starts to crack as this almost green, acidic, burning substance starts to rise from the ground as the crack goes further and further along, going to where this guy is. Is he tricked or no?
That's not his
Turn around.
stance.
Whether
No,
he turns around or not, he's gonna.
he is able to know where the sound comes from.
Good, as he'd see this crack approaching him, as by the time he notices it, it is right beneath him. As the burning acid almost starts to turn red hot, as almost a gushing stream of flaming liquid erupts out of the ground. As I cast Wall of Fire from my sword, can I have a dex save?
No,
Also,
no, you don't. Because we planned this, and he gets one of these. Guess which one he
I'll
gets.
take the 22 then, Matthew, thanks.
No, don't give him that. No.
as is this just cast at casting level?
Yes, it is cast at casting level.
So that is doubled 5d8 fire damage.
Yes, as I was
Hell
very
yes.
much assuming that he wasn't getting the fuck my life, the 22.
Hell yes.
That is 58 points of fire damage.
Did he take any damage last time?
Whether he did or not, that is quite a big bulk.
That's a lot of damage.
Certainly is. And now there's also a wall of fire in his space. Also, the side I'm determining that is dealing fire damage is the side he is on, shockingly enough. So if he wants to try come through that, he'll have to make that save again.
Boys and their forward planning. Actual shocking. How could you? It's not like I have to forward plan this stuff. I have to think of it all on the spot.
I asked Matthew what his number was, and his number made me experience a happy emotion.
As the pillar, whether or not he was distracted from it or not, you definitely caught him in your flame. You can almost see his elongated shadow writhe in the flame. As there are still two Northul down here, and obviously the blighted creatures, so legging it?
Running time. I just hope that was enough damage, and with the amount of damage that was, I'm hopeful that it is, to distract him enough that his big boy going after those two in the sky will come down. That's my intent there. And with 58, sorry, I'm hopeful. As yes, carrying Ranagash. I can't dash or anything right now, but I can still move 50 feet.
Which is the fastest Ranagash will have moved in a long time.
Oh, he's about to get way faster.
Wait, what's the terminal velocity of a half-orc?
I don't know.
You can work it
It'll
out,
be the
Matthew.
same for everyone, so it'll be 9.8 meters per second. Weird.
Fuck, I'm gonna need to figure out what that is in feet over 6 seconds, but okay.
Wait, give me a sec, I'll do it.
That's good damage. I'm happy with that damage.
To be fair, that is pretty good. The only disappointing
Oh.
roll there was the one.
I know, but everything else was above average.
So the terminal velocity of an average 80 kilogram human being is about 66 meters per second, which would translate to about 216 feet per second.
Oh, so you're fine then. Because at max, Eidolon can only move 100 foot a second. Well, 100 foot in 6 seconds.
I can move 200 feet, thank you.
Oh yeah, you can double dash.
Mario Kart.
Yep, there it is.
As Eidolon, you're carrying Ran, aren't you?
Yes. If it helps, my strength is currently treated as 20.
Yeah, give me stealth, no disadvantage. Because Ran isn't the heaviest guy in the world.
That is a 18. I'll take that.
As which kind of obviously I think east would be back the way you came. No, west would be back the way you came. So you're not going that way. Are you going north, south, east?
I've instructed Morkasar and Wolfric to go towards the ocean. The closest direction towards the ocean is east.
East with a little bit of south.
A smidgen of south.
Just for flavour.
Just a pinch.
A pinch of south for some spice.
A bit of Monica and Lala.
Good boys get to go a little bit south.
As the two of you, well, I say the two of you start running. Eidolon, you start running, carrying Ranagash in the kind of general direction that you're attempting to go. Kind of using the majority of the cover for a lot of the ruins as a way to get through, hopefully without the Northul and without the Blight seeing the two of you.
So there is a very large magical signature that is burning a lot of things currently present. I hope the wall of fire is a nice visual description. What does opaque mean?
It means it's like
kind of clear or
kinda.
translucent.
It's the opposite, you can't see through it.
Yeah.
Is it?
Opaque is not able to be seen through, not
Yeah.
transparent.
What am I thinking of then?
Oh, no,
Translucent.
transparent?
Yeah, it goes opaque, translucent, transparent.
Yeah, maybe then.
it's been a long week, guys. Come on, let's cut her some slack.
Got some math attached to it.
What?
Meth?
Suffer.
I love how I say one thing and I immediately get.
Ah,
Oh,
right.
hell yeah.
Allow us to commence.
Well, the two of you are running, that's one thing. As, at least for yourself, Eidolon, with your passive, you are, on a positive, you are not being followed, so the Northul and the Wolf that was at least lingering, you don't seem to hear them following you, though obviously the Hive does seem to know that you are here and you can hear the Blights.
Yes.
So stopping for any length of time would probably be a bad idea, at least with yourself and Ranagash in this condition.
Before we leave, since Ranagash is conscious, would he have time to do anything at the same time?
Technically yes, if you would want to, Ran.
I don't know if there's much for me to do.
Matthew, do you want to set up another wall of fire on him?
I mean, just to be sure, just to be safe, just to be funny.
I
Is that
mean,
the plan?
you could run 50 feet and then set up another one.
That's.
I
yeah.
mean, he can cast up to 120 feet away, so...
That is true.
Before I start carrying him, he could just put up another one.
You could put up another 3.
Do you want to put up another one, Matthew? Just
I
for the
can
sake
put
of
up
it.
another one.
Fuck it.
We'll just. Yeah. Somehow I managed to snatch out the runestone and just peer over my shoulder long enough to just cast it.
You'd like I can fiddle around in your rune bag for you and pass you the right rune.
Yeah, you probably have the dex for it.
Actually, no, what I'll do is, since I've got my tendrils out, one of the tendrils will just go into your bag and pull out a few, because it's like, is it this one? No.
Is this your card? Is this your card?
Until we land on the right fire one.
As, are you aiming it as a distraction or are you aiming it towards him?
I think I'll just continue and enhance the distraction.
More damage.
So deck save, no portent.
So now
Yes.
we need to make 2 deck saves if he wants to walk through our barrier, Matthew.
That
Indeed.
doesn't bode well. 9.
Oh hell yeah.
More damage.
5d8.
Burn to the ground.
Not bad.
How much total fire damage is that?
81.
Nice.
As those are my two boys running on the ground, I need to make a check for something flying in the sky. Fair enough. As jumping to my aerial team, my boys in the sky, you are obviously being followed by quite a large Northul, one of these ancient Northul, this almost town-sized drake that had accosted you once in the caverns and now again in these ruins. It is catching up, and quickly. As Snapdragon, whilst being fast, this thing just seems to be able to have you on distance. However, as you start to almost round the corners trying to take that I guess, a little bit higher, trying to almost caps it on altitude, the beast seems to turn around. As Wolfric, you're obviously flying Snapdragon, you'll be able to hear it. Marksar, if you look over your shoulder, you will be able to see it. As beneath you in the ground, large plumes of fire, one and then not long after a second one seem to score through the earth, cutting through the mist, and where the two of you came from, it seems to mark the ground, where the beast seems to turn around and almost dive back into the mist and back towards the fire, leaving the two of you alone in the air, at least for the moment. You're not too sure how long it will be before the beast returns, so you kind of have two options. You know the rough direction where Eidolon told you to go, and on top of that, well, if the fire's there, maybe him and Ranagash got away, so you could go back down towards the ground to try and reconvene with them.
We're gonna keep dashing on Snapdragon, but we're gonna dip beneath the clouds slightly to see if we can see. It's like Marcusar, keep an eye out for Eidolon.
Eyes peeled.
Can you give me perception checks, boys, if you're then having a little look around?
Is my passive not good enough?
Active.
Yeah.
Ouch.
As you told.
18.
16.
You wouldn't got better.
I know. It's the ironic.
sure.
It's the ironic thing of Wolfric's like, Marksar, keep your eyes peeled. Wolfric's able to see them more than Marksar is.
What do your elf eyes see? Fuck all.
As Marksar, can I instead? This might be at least a thematic reason for you, you could say, why you weren't able to perhaps pay attention, as your mind might be distracted with something else. As can I get a wisdom save from you?
Oh no. 26.
Nice. So, positives, you don't fall off of Snapdragon. Don't really want that to happen again.
Negatives though.
You seem to be very almost distracted. You're not too sure why. It starts as almost a singing, kind of a siren song that throws you off, almost attempting to muddle your mind and perhaps even take control, though you are able to shake that. You are able to at least regain your own senses and your own thoughts, but the song does not fade, as this almost soft melodic tune seems to penetrate through the mists. It doesn't seem to be of the blight, it's not guttural, it's not harsh, it doesn't hurt your head, there's almost a part of you that feels at peace when you hear it. As you could almost feel a pull, that this song is calling you somewhere, that it's perhaps been singing for a long time, and all of a sudden someone is able to hear it.
Can I discern a sort of direction to where it could be leading me, sorry?
It seems to be not well, you're going eastward at the moment. Rather than heading southeast more towards the ocean, this seems to be pulling you northeast.
Can I see anything in that direction, even at this height?
Nothing.
No.
You can just almost feel that very tangible pull. Very, as I said, very siren song-esque, almost leading or possibly luring, you're not too sure. It's only because of that kind of warm feeling that, at least in a comforting sense, you feel that it's not evil. You're not too sure why, but at least in yourself, and especially with that save, you can tell that it's not bad, it's not villainous, it's not corrupt. Perhaps the only thing in here that's not. As for yourself, Wolfric, obviously trying to get Marksar to keep his eyes peeled, he seems to be a wee bit more distracted. You seem to be a little bit more focused, however, as at this point in some of the ruins, probably quite a little bit away from the battlefield, or at least where you guys fought the Northul, giving you that little bit of breathing space, you can see Eidolon carrying Ranagash heading into one of the ruined buildings, almost catching a breath as there seems to be quite a lot of blighted creatures on his tail.
How many blighted creatures?
You could not number them.
That's comforting.
Is it enough for perhaps to fit inside a 30-foot cube?
There's probably more than that, but that would get a few of them.
Right, I'm gonna lie down, and then for the ones at the front of the pack, I will cast Hypnotic Pattern.
On a positive, they're not very good at these saves.
Wolford just says stop. Red light.
That's gonna date this video.
I mean, I think in every video we've had, we date it somewhat.
Yeah.
Wisdom save. That is a 19.
They pass.
As they kind of almost stop, perhaps initially fooled by your hypnotic pattern, you're not sure, before they start to reconvene and shamble, almost picking up their pace ever so slightly, as now they can actually see something. They can see you, Marksar, and Snapdragon. As would you retreat on Snapdragon?
Yes.
Can you give me an initiative roll for Snapdragon against theirs? See if any of them can attack first.
I could cast Hypnotic Pattern from 120 feet.
Oh, so you're still flying in there then?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like, alright, Eidolon, Ranagash, can you hear me? Shouting it.
You would be able to hear them, boys.
I'll look to Ranagash and just say, do we want to respond or respond telepathically?
What are the downsides of just yelling at this point? We're already being chased.
They'll be able to know exactly where you are in comparison to making perception checks to find you.
But let's not do that then.
Telepathically?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Are we
we can hear you.
Are we sort of like drawing their focus?
At the moment, yes, as obviously they can see Snapdragon in the air, and they're kind of almost, the blighted creatures are kind of almost piling on top of one another, obviously trying to get up to reach him. They can't, but they're trying.
Right. Ranagash, Eidolon, I'm gonna need you to get out of there, keep running, and then I have an idea. It'll mean you move a bit slower, but it'll mean you're safe.
Okay, well, keep flying away and I'll keep up on the ground.
I do have a couple of eagles at my disposal.
Use them as distractions.
Right, so what
Also-
I'm gonna do, just as I've said that, is give me a sec. I can't restore a 4th level spell slot. I was thinking it because I used Death Ward today, so we won't have had time to long rest. So I can.
What are you trying to achieve, Ewan? Just
No, I've got a spell that I know only I have that I'm trying to use.
That's exciting.
Right. Let's see what we can do.
As Wolfric has requested, though, I will be currently making my effort to get out of here.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll let them get out first.
So you kind of Snapdragon obviously creating a distraction.
Snapdragon.
He's not the Snapdragon, he's Snapdragon. Creating the distraction, at least whilst the two of you try to sneak out. Eidolon, are you still carrying Ranagash?
Yes, because it means we can move faster.
As you kind of get out of the building, start to use some of the corners, the alleyways, some of the rubble and ruin, again moving swiftly and deftly, trying to avoid at least some detection. However, once you start to move further into the mists, and obviously Snapdragon is out, it seems that another group has at least caught up to you, or perhaps been startled by you. As Eidolon, since you are doing the running, may you give me an initiative roll
Yes.
to see if you can
Try.
dart past them.
If not, I can just attempt to disengage with an action dash. That's 19.
Cool, so they will get one attack.
Oh boy. Alright, come on.
Nat 20.
Come on.
What?
Right.
Don't do that. Don't
I'm gonna
egg them
do that.
on.
Come on, come on, hit me.
Don't
bitch.
egg on my dice. 27.
Yeah, it hits.
Don't
that's what you
egg.
get for egging them on.
You don't egg on my dice, Craig.
I'm going to. I'm never gonna stop.
I'm on a positive though. don't think this will affect you.
Oh, okay. Okay, why is that?
Because it is necrotic damage.
Okay, I need the damage though, because this will heal me.
Yes, hence I'm still calculating, but... so 3, 6... 13... because technically I need to do 2 forms of math, because that is 1822. But this will get reduced.
Because went in a complete circle and stack overflowed into me winning.
Possibly. So that would reduce the damage down to... math. 4, 8. Because you restore half, don't you?
Heal half of the damage that would have been dealt.
Cool, so that's 5, 13, halved is 6, which is 2, 16. And then, oh, that's convenient, another 6, which is 10. So in total you'd only take 10 damage.
What type of damage is that?
Slashing.
Cool, I need the healing first to see if I don't die.
So you would have taken 22 damage,
Okay.
then you would have taken, or you would have healed 12 damage total.
Right.
Hence I
Cool.
subtracted it from the total damage.
I'm very confused.
So it does 3 different damage types. Slashing, necrotic, poison.
I need to know how much I heal to make sure that the damage slashing does not take me beneath my current hit points.
Okay, so it's 22 slashing damage,
Okay.
and you heal 12,
Here 12.
which is 10 damage total.
I'm so confused by that way of doing it. Okay, the death ward procs and I'm on 1.
Oh boy.
I thought I was trying to make it easier for you just by
Oh,
giving you the...
you made it 10 times more complicated for me to actually understand what you were saying to me.
Here I thought I was being helpful and making it easier for you.
No, you just made it very difficult.
As you kind of dart and run, obviously keep going as you are able to push through some of the horde. Enough that the Holy Light of Liera has to contribute to you being able to push through the last of that bit of the horde, as they do seem to be pretty hot on your tail after that. Pretty close behind you, obviously not as fast as you, but definitely keeping up.
Do I need to expend a key? I'll expend the key point for dashing. So I can double dash and make Ranagash experience motion sickness.
Yeah, it's not pleasant, Ran. No man, beast, half-orc should ever move this fast. At least not by teleporting.
Definitely not while we have a combined 3 hit points between us.
Yeah.
Matthew, do you want to heal me?
I can heal you.
Just... This is going to go as badly as when you try to give someone, like, a drink whilst they're driving.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking and driving is fun.
Half of it's going to
No,
go everywhere
Craig.
else, and not in the intended orifice.
Okay, so I will return the favor of healing and drop you a healing salve while you're
Sure.
running.
6.
Enough.
I think you're nearly at double digits between the two of you boys.
Matthew, how many hit points do you have?
2.
Okay, we're at 9. Let's go!
As you continue to run through the wastes, still in your intended direction, yes? As
About 200 feet per round. Going fast.
my boys behind, about 120 feet up in the air on the back of Snapdragon. Eidolon and Ranagash seem to have continued to run. They seem to run out of your field of view, where they seem to be still obviously moving in the same, or the intended direction you were wanting them to. What are the two of you doing?
I suppose we should try and get into a position for them to quickly hop on. Snapdragon can only hold 3 of us, correct?
Yes.
I can run.
Right. Get into a position.
Well, I was if Eddie 1 or 2 is still kicking, still flapping, I'll swap onto one of them, so you guys can get on Snapdragon.
Eddie can easily catch up, yes, that's good. I mean, you could just cast it again, Paul,
Yeah.
and they'd be dismissed, and then you get fresh Eddies.
So you
There's
wouldn't be lacking on eddies.
yeah, I suppose I'll do that. I'll cast some fresh eddies.
Cast it very-
Eddie
So-
knew her better.
2 more. But do the first ones just like poof, but then like the next ones just appear almost exactly in the same spot, but just like a bit more healed?
Well, these ones would appear a lot closer to you. They wouldn't be as broken. They wouldn't be as kind of mangled as the other two were, as these ones will be fresh and full of HP.
Okay.
As you now have Eddie 1 and Eddie 2, and are you attempting to get on the back of Eddie 1 or Eddie 2?
Eddie 1.
Can you give me acrobatics?
Oh no!
Oh no.
What's my acrobatics? I have a positive modifier, which is nice, I guess. Oh dear.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh no.
Can you give me a dexterity saving throw for Eddie 1?
I'm gonna command Eddie 1 to catch me.
Let's see if anyone can.
So what, a dex save?
Yeah. I would say strength, but you are in the air.
Oh!
Oh, Eddie! Oh, Eddie!
Eddie 2!
Come on, give Eddie to it too.
Dex save for Eddie 2. However, if Eddie 2 misses, you are falling.
Okay.
No pressure.
Oh, Eddie too.
Eddie 2 coming in clutch.
We always loved you, Eddie too. We didn't insult you. We promise.
You know what? Eddie 2 is now Eddie 1. He's been promoted.
Friendship ended with Eddie 2. Now Eddie 1 is my best friend.
As you get very close to the ground, you get very close to this pile of blighted creatures, this almost stack that they've created, piling on top of each other, one after the other, in an attempt to kind of grab hold of Snapdragon, reach up and grab you. You get very, very close. Maybe only another 20 or so feet of falling before you would have just become part of the amalgamate that is now beneath you. However, Eddie 1, previously Eddie 2, has come in clutch. And you are now on the back of one of your giant eagles.
Form up with Snapdragon.
As Wolfric, you're on the back of Snapdragon, and Paul, you have 2 fresh eddies.
I mean, they're as fresh as they were before. You know, they've still got the like withered feathers and cracked beaks and all that sort of shit. They're, I guess, and should fly up next to Wolfric. Should we like land so they can get on?
Lower yourself to the ground.
Okay.
We're gonna get lower.
Is there like an area in line with where they're running to, like a landing pad, if you will?
There would be a clear area. You don't know how long that'll stay clear, as there are quite a lot of blights around. So your best bet would probably essentially be hovering until they're right beneath you.
Okay. Suppose we do that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Alright, Eidolon and Ran, are they like clear of the blight, or are they like they're just getting chased? Obviously.
Yeah.
Are they outrunning them?
Now, yes. Before, as you were kind of almost scrambling with Eddie 2 and reforming in the air, you completely lost sight of them in a horde, and they kind of pushed through the other side before Eidolon is able to pick up pace again. Both of them are looking very worse for wear, as they are kind of running ahead, just managing to stay ahead of these hordes.
They obey the verbal commands issued to the don't check. Could I command Eddie 1, which I'm not on anymore, to attack the blight?
Just kind of like...
Just like, if possible, kind of like just try and swoop down and maybe like using some wings or something like that, just try and like batter them away. Maybe just like at least clearing it a little bit for Eidolon and Ran.
As Eddie 1 kind of sweeps, or Eddie 1, or Eddie 2 technically, previously Eddie 1.
Let's keep it. I should have changed their names. I'm on Eddie 2 and Eddie 1 is...
Yes. As he kind of goes down and tries to distract some of them. It is a distraction enough for some of them, but your conjured beast quite quickly disappears in the crowd, as they don't kind of stand around and attack him. They just swarm him. The moment he comes close, the moment they can get a hold of him, your bird is pulled to the ground and they just dogpile on top of it.
Anyone break free!
Does he get a chance to break free?
Well, I'll see if he survives first.
Oh shit, how many attacks did he get off? Or did they get off, sorry.
I think they only need 1.
Yeah, bugger.
He had a good run.
Well, it was only 5 seconds. What? He missed the first catch. You know what? This is his penance.
For fucking dying.
Pour one out for Eddie one.
Fucking okay then,
I'm out of
Paul.
Ribena.
Eddie 1 is dead. Long live Eddie 1.
We need a new Eddie too.
That is 33 damage.
What's the health of a giant eagle?
I don't
Turns
think
into
it's.
teens.
I don't think it's 33.
It's 26.
Oh
Pretty
shit!
close to surviving that.
Yeah.
Damn.
If I rolled
Yeah, it-
less, he could have actually survived that, but no. Uh,
I lean down to Eddie 2 is like,
Paul.
just like, you're Eddie 1 now.
This is my swamp now.
But it
Do
did,
not blow this for me.
it did seem to provide a distraction of sorts, perhaps, as the four of you, or at least Eidolon, Ranagash, you are able to at least reconvene with Marksar and Wolfric, at least for a time, as you have that moment for Snapdragon, kind of Eddie 2/1 hovering above
he's
with
just-
Marksar.
There's only one Eddie now. He's just Eddie.
Just Eddie.
Just Eddie. Eddie 1. Eddie. What?
As
Eddie the Eagle.
Marksar kind of hovering above, keeping sight, keeping an eye out. You have that moment, that time to get on Snapdragon.
This is a
Yes.
short rest, is it?
Nope,
Can try. Can always try.
it's like a minute, so no.
Well, we all
As
can fit, but Paul does have Eddie now, so we all can fit.
you can all get upon the dragons, yes. This is the wrong stats.
If we all get on the back of Snapdragon, I'll stay at the back and literally just be facing behind.
You be the eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've got the eyes for it. I hope I've got the eyes for it. As I take it by this time, it's been more than 10 minutes.
At this point, yes.
Yes.
Cool. I'll need to proc my arms of the astral self again to actually
Do you
keep
do
up
so?
my shit. It's more, I'm assuming, the magical dark vision. Actually, wait, no. I only needed the magical dark vision to see through the sphere
spell
of
effect.
darkness. For now, in that case, I'm fine. I'll keep them off. I'll keep them turned off.
How's everyone doing health-wise?
Ah!
Yeah, not good.
Okay.
I'm asking Cure Wounds could be good because I'm pretty sure Snapdragon's also injured.
Is Snapdragon? Did he take a hit?
Snapdragon took a big hit, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's, can I fly within a 30-foot radius of Snapdragon then?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do so and then center a mass cure wounds on Snapdragon, so everyone will gain. That's Snapdragon, Wolfric, Ran, Eidolon, my eagle, who's full health, and myself. Will
Flex
regain
on the dead Eddie.
Dead Eddie, sorry. Rip to Eddie. Okay, you'll all regain 3d plus a d4. Not great, but you all gain 12 hit points.
It's 12 more than what we had before. Hey Matthew, now we've got a bit more than double
It's-
digits.
We do.
There you go.
We take
Excellent.
those.
We do take those.
As the best way to put it, is on the back of Snapdragon as we're flying towards the ocean front. I will be essentially holding my action for if anything comes our way to activate my stuff again, because I don't want to be caught unprepared.
I would like, yeah. We never saw where the dragon went, did we? The North Pole.
No, it went back towards the plumes of flame, and that's kind of all you got to see from it.
I guess I'd ask Eidolon, for flying in tandem. Where did the North Pole go?
If you want an educated guess, me and Ranagash made giant walls of fire to keep the person controlling it distracted. Hopefully it'll have flown back down to them.
And where would that be?
Where we were,
Where do you think they'll strike next?
chances are they'll be following us eventually, which means we simply need to find a place to... While the ocean, salt water, as I've mentioned before, difficult for them to be around. So we'll head there, and hopefully have a chance to rest. And then when we have that, we have new information. The fact that the further east we got, the more they started appearing, which means that the likelihood is Gairdre's there. I mean, well, Gairdre literally was next to us, but we need to be the one to catch him unprepared, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
He caught us off guard this time, and we very simply just can't have that happen again.
Once we reach the ocean, what's the plan of action from there?
I hope you all can swim, as we'll try find a place to camp, I presume.
What, like, out in the water?
We'll try find something nearby where the water laps up onto the shore. That means if anything comes nearby, we can just dive in. Sorry, Wolfric, wearing your full heavy armor.
I don't know if Marcusar can swim.
He's gonna have to learn fast.
I don't think he's been out near any significant bodies of water. No. I can climb a tree real good, but I can't swim.
Wait, but Hilden has all of this?
You assume
I
he's
feel like-
travelled that far.
I would say I've stayed very much in like this vicinity right here. Yeah, wow, standing stones is 5 feet away from the ocean. That's crazy.
You never walked 5 feet, Paul?
You knew my upbringing. Do you think I travelled at all? Do you think I have a very small idea of what
You walked to Summerfest
the greater world is
10
like?
feet.
No, that's not bad.
That's your commute, 10 feet. To commit terrorism.
Yeah, I don't think Marcusar can swim, but he'll try his gosh darnest.
I have never swam before, but I just know that it's a good option. I don't think any of us have swam. Unless Wolfric had swimming lessons in school.
Wolfric will have probably swum before, and Ranagash will have probably swum before.
Unless the pure gym on the wall had a swimming pool.
No. As because Eidolon, even though you're having this conversation, you are keeping at least a little bit of a lookout. This will not be with disadvantage, but Wolfric and Marcusar for Snapdragon and Eddie, can you make me dexterity saving throws?
Well, come on with these.
Do all of us make dex saves, you said?
No, just your mounts at this point.
Alright.
They get
my aura. So
Oh wait, did they get
Snapdragon-
his aura? Did they get the +4?
Technically,
They're allied creatures.
they would, yes.
15 from Eddie.
15 from Eddie.
Dirty 20.
He is a good lad. Marks are gonna really fall again.
You both might. Well, I say you both might, you all might.
No.
And this is why I don't roll dice anymore, because I'd be here doing math for too long.
Is 20 a fail?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yikes.
What is actually happening is my question.
That's the description that I'm going to be giving you at this point in time, Craig.
Because if it is something, which I think it might be, there's something I'd like to do.
As you are flying, obviously having this conversation, planning your next move, planning your next step, Eidolon, you'll be able to see it beneath you, staying still quite low, but enough that, at least by your eyes, you're able to catch sight of it. This black shadow starting to move through, not quite as large as perhaps the other one, but still quite a large shadow, as its eyes are the first thing you see peering out before its head, this kind of almost shimmering, shining scale that is still quite punctured and broken, blackened and bruised, starts to open up, and this almost viscous substance starts to spark in its mouth as, the two mounts and the four of you are caught in its breath weapon.
Can I try something to protect Snapdragon?
What are you going to do?
So it completely depends on Rule of Cool, because it is completely how I have aestheticized the body of the astral self is literally the wing that shrouds around. What I'd kind of like to do is, if I've seen this coming, which you mentioned, and my action is currently prepared for activating my arms and bodies, if I could potentially swing down so that I am essentially below Snapdragon, activate those so that I can take the brunt of the blow instead of Snapdragon,
Okay, so
and essentially absorb that material.
rule of cool, half damage for Snapdragon.
I'll take that.
So he has the chance, because I don't know what HP he's on at the moment. Annoyingly, I know that Eddie doesn't have this HP, Paul. As for Eddie, it's 74.
Okay.
And then for Snapdragon, it would be 37.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So what's
Ewan, that's not the face you're supposed to make.
Oh no.
happening right now, man?
You're all falling.
We're free falling. All of us are free falling.
How quickly can I conjure animals again?
I also need to ask,
And then
do
they
I,
all
do
need
I
to
take
make-
the rest of that damage, Em?
You would technically heal it because it is acid damage, which would be 37 halved and then healed. So
18.
36, 18.
I tried, I'm sorry, Ewan.
Casting time 1 action,
It's
which
fine.
is 6 seconds. Technically, he could have,
Cool.
the half that damage, he could have survived it. Just the dice weren't happy.
The shock of the-
Sounds a bit morbid, but could I use the body of Eddie as a sort of crash mat?
A bit morbid, Paul.
Yeah, a little bit. It's-
Him.
Hey,
Mm.
in the faith of in the old faith, we're taught to use what nature has provided for us. We don't take from nature, and nature has provided me a mattress.
I would like to add conjure animals. You summon face spirits, take form of beasts, and appear in occupied space you can see with range.
No, stop reading the spell. Stop
Each
reading it.
beast is also considered fey, and it disappears when it drops to 0 hit points.
Okay, so I am just free falling.
I like how Ewan's like, if I'm not getting a cushion, you're not getting a cushion.
Fuck. So we are all just falling.
You are all just free falling, yes.
Please
Well,
tell me Ranagash knows Featherfall.
Retroactively, what height were we all flying at? I want to say 10 feet.
Nice try, Paul.
I like to think we were. I like to think we were skimming the surface of Ilvania. You know, like
No,
we were pod
we were
racing.
definitely in the air.
We were above the clouds, approaching stratosphere.
Do I have any spells? Okay, hold on.
Do
I
you
want to pull off
boys-
some bullshit.
Do you boys
let's
have
pull
any
some bullshit.
spells?
I have slow fall, but that's not a spell, and that's just for me.
Can I summon a pound of raw vegetables to break our fall?
A pound.
Pound. A singular pound.
No, if I've to narrate what I want to be
Um,
doing, the dragon has been said to be beneath us, so what my intention is to slow fall, land on the dragon, so I can start fucking killing it. It's
Okay.
notably a smaller dragon, so we should be able to deal with this one.
I'm gonna,
Okay.
I'm gonna try and land. I'm gonna like take out my axe and like overhead try and land on the dragon and slash it.
Could I
Me and Wolfric are being the monster
Tell-
hunters.
tell me if this is just some bullshit? So, with plant growth, you cast the spell and use that and choose a point within range that normal plants in a 100-foot radius become thick and overgrown. Like, you know, you ever fallen into like a bush or something like
There's
that?
not any
Sometimes
plants
it
in
breaks.
Ilvania, Paul. All of them are dead.
Oh shit, yeah, it's all the plants. Oh fuck!
Nothing
It's not like
lives.
it's not like great
Plants to grow
plant.
plants.
Fuck!
Nothing
didn't think-
lives in
I didn't read
Ilvania.
it. Okay. Hold on, let me
grows.
consult the list again.
Yeah, me and Ewan have already just rescinded ourselves to play Monster Hunter and landing on top of the creature and hopefully dealing double damage because of that.
Okay, I have literally nothing else I could possibly do. That was my only option was just like, maybe I can create a 100-foot bush that I can fall into. And then it would just mean it would take 4 times my speed to get out of there. Four times as long to get out of there. But
We should
no,
give it plenty of time to chomp on you.
yeah. I think we've already ruled out the option is that I can't wild shape.
Why not?
Mechanically I can, narratively I can't.
I mean, it could come in a moment of panic if you want a narrative moment.
Marcusar just starts flapping and all of a sudden he produces feathers.
As Marcusar is falling, he begins panicking, looking at the corpse of the eagle disappearing before him, and just like, fuck, I wish I was that, and then he is that.
I could. My only other option is to conjure animals again, and hope that that I get caught.
Again, I'd say it would be like a narratively fitting moment to panically wild shape, but it's completely up to you.
I'm gonna try and conjure Eddie's again.
It's 5 and
Conjure-
6.
What's Ran doing? Because I kind of need to ask. I know what Eidolon and Wolfric are going to try and do.
I
I will command the eagles to catch us. Ran.
if you can, okay, because I don't have much in the way of defense, and I
One
don't
Eddie
think
a caster.
I don't think teleporting myself closer to the ground is going to help much.
I mean, it maybe
I don't
reduce
think-
the d6s.
I'm on 14 HP.
In my mind, teleporting closer to the ground just accelerates you to the ground.
There is that as well. And I not only do I not have heroism, but I don't think 3 temporary hit points is going to save me. And yeah, so yeah, I'm just sort of. Can I just fucking pile drive the dragon then?
Hand axe. Go for it.
Yeah.
Make your hands extra spicy and just land and just put them in him.
Put my hands in the dragon.
Wait, if you have burning hands, you could just propel a bunch of burning hands downwards to slow your fall you're a rocket ship.
Like he's fucking Iron Man or some shit.
Eidolon, Ran, Wolfric, can you all give me attack rolls? However you be attacking the dragon.
Assuming my slow fall is still in effect, if I'm doing this.
Technically
That
it
is a
will be,
reaction,
but
not an action.
if you guys can get onto the dragon, you won't take any damage. I.e., if you can hit it, you're not going to take damage.
Let's see.
17.
Alright. Is it worth using a natural 22 for this?
I mean, you'll take no damage, which will be worth it.
I'd say that, yeah, that's worth it. So natural 22 plus. It doesn't matter what I use, so let's just use hand axe. So for 23.
So Eidolon, you'd miss it.
Does Wolfric hit?
Wolfric hits.
I'm going to burn 2 key points to make my attack an 18 instead of a 14.
Cool. So you hit, Wolfric hits, Ran, you also hit.
Let's fucking go, dudes!
As boys roll me some damage.
This will be doubled because it's my longsword against a dragon.
Does a natural 22 count as a crit?
Was it a nat 20 on your...
No,
on
it's
your
a 22 on my portent.
I don't know.
Because we've broken the rules of portents.
Dear great Scott.
We'll go yes, because it's funny.
Okay.
Let's go.
Dad.
Not that it entirely matters much. 2 times 1d6 plus 1. That is the damage for the hand axe, yes. There you go. A whole 8 slashing damage.
17 doubled because that's what I did.
34.
34.
There you go. That's how much damage I did. So we just gotta kill this thing as fast as possible and then run away.
Speedrun.
I think we can do it. I honestly do.
Well, can
I mean,
you roll me
that's what we're
damage,
currently doing.
Wolfric?
I will roll you some damage.
Drop him a divine smite, maybe? Or is that not worth it right now?
Oh yeah, I forgot the slash. 9, and then I'll drop. Is this classed as an undead?
It is.
Okay, so that means it's 3d8 rather than 2d8.
Also, are you including your additional 1d8 because we're that level?
Oh yeah, and an additional 1d8, which I get to re-roll, and then I get to re-roll the 1d8 from the divine smite.
There we go.
That is
8, 10, 18,
17.
27.
I always find it funny when you attacks because he's just constantly is like re-roll this, that.
Re-roll, re-roll.
I don't
It's like
want this one.
He's like a bloody calculator. He just like if X do this, then it just it. By the way, 34 damage or whatever it is.
Also, on a very nice note, you boys did 69 damage.
Nice.
Yo! Oh!
However, Paul, can you
Yes.
give me a dex save from your eddies?
Oh yeah, Paul's not doing the cool thing and landing on the dragon.
Am I in Wolfric's range of? No, don't think so.
Oh no!
So you're not on the back of an eddy, but it does kind of hurt as it sinks its talons into your arms.
Better than nothing.
As it kind of grabs hold of you and kind of does that thing where rather than kind of just bouncing because you land on its back, it kind of almost dips down as it's literally grabbing onto your shoulders with its talons.
Ugh. I take damage from that?
Roll me its talon damage.
Which is...
D6
I don't know
plus
what-
3.
It's 2d6 plus 3, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Giant eagles can understand common. In fact,
That's the best possible outcome. Woo! Maybe I need some new eagles. These ones can't do shit.
Hey, it caught
can't even
you!
attack you, right?
You took
It did
5
catch me.
damage, you could have taken a lot more damage.
I could have. Also, that was... Yeah, my last turn, that was spell slot.
Ouch.
Conjuring it 3 times. So I'm being held by this,
Yeah, just
by
kind of like
Eddie.
suspended in midair.
I try to, like... I don't know if I can, like, do it myself, or I'll just, like, command them, like, can you get me on your back?
The other one kind of flies beneath it so that you can kind of hop down and hop on.
Yeah. I didn't think about that yet.
As
My notes right now is like, you conjure Eddie again, you fall again.
as for my 3 boys on the back of the dragon, on the back of this Northul, it is definitely not it's definitely not Gairdre's Northul, it's definitely not as big. It still seems as strong, it still seems as tough, though it seems with the weight of all 3 of you kind of hacking down on it, it is finding it difficult to maintain air as it almost curls, grabs onto one of the more ruined spires nearby. The 3 of you still on its back, mind you, as its claws kind of scrape into the stonework, almost sliding it down. You are now maybe a soft jump away from the ground. As long as you land correctly, you shouldn't take much damage, as the 3 of you are kind of clinging on, holding on, your weapons buried into the backs of this creature. As Marksar, you can obviously accompany and fly just off the handle. As because you are here and because you are close, I now need the 4 of you to officially roll me some initiative.
I think we should probably stay on the dragon, try kill it as fast as possible, then keep running.
It's harder for it to kill you if you're on it.
I have
Yeah.
a question. Is its monster type undead, or is it only classified as undead for me dealing radiant damage?
It is only classified as undead for the purpose of you dealing radiant damage.
So that
Its actual classification is dragon.
So that means it's still affected by spells that would say this
Undead.
does not affect undead.
Yes.
Okay.
That's huge, actually. That's huge.
Oh, come on, Paul.
Oh, the
Twice.
rolls are not your way today.
No.
Twice the pride, double the fall.
Hey, Matthew's doing pretty well today, though.
I think you mean
Matthew's
twice the
stolen.
eddies that will the fall.
The Eddies keep eating shit today. What did Eddie do to deserve this? Exist, I guess.
That's convenient.
At this point, Marksar's just got like a mouthful of like terrible feathers, just because he just keeps like conjuring all these eagles that won't catch him, and he just keeps bouncing off them and hitting shit.
It's like bouncing between a rock and a hard place, except you're bouncing between Eddie 1 and Eddie 2.
Caught between an eagle and another one.
As top of initiative is actually Ranagash.
Oh, I don't like this.
It's new.
This is a strange experience.
What are you gonna do, Ran?
Okay. I'm going to attempt to kill the dragon. Because
We kill the Batman.
we'll kill the Batman. Right, let's... I had a plan and then I looked at my spell sheet and now I have a new plan. I'm gonna go with the original plan for now. So, I think, actually, before I do this, if I immolate the dragon, the rest of us on the dragon will not take the damage, right?
I don't think so, because essentially you could almost immolate in front of the dragon and just erupt around
Yeah.
it, avoiding the back of it.
Okay. Then, so first of all, bonus action, I would like to take another healing salve. So that I'm less on death's door. So
Always a good shout.
let's chug down another 2d6. That's better. I have 20 more hit points than when I was brought back up, which is a start. And then I shall immolation the dragon.
which is
So can the
Dex save?
dexterity saving throw, please.
11.
Oh, it fails. Excellent. So it takes the full 8d6 and is also on fire.
Oh no. I don't want to be on
So you
fire.
take
Dragons on fire.
25 fire damage and are also on fire.
It's no longer on the funny damage.
Ooh.
Worth it, Paul. It's all worth it.
I am not the villain in this story. I do what I do because there is no choice.
I'm to presume maybe a break after this combat, by the way.
Yes. As Craig.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah.
Cool. Sadly, unlike Matthew, I can't do cool things like lighting things. That's a lie. I can actually light things on fire now.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry
a lie.
for lying.
You just
however-
lied to everyone. You lied to the audience.
I'm going to choose not to do that in favor of instead attacking it 4 times, like the good monk I am. I will aestheticize by how many attacks I hit. They're all plus 10 to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All 4.
All 4 hit.
Nice. That's nice numbers right there.
I will roll it as the... So this is the crit first, all is 1. Because dragon, so auto crit weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That is 41 doubled 82 damage from the blade. As it's going to be a simple case of blade piercing in, rip out, and then just make an almost X slash on the dragon's back.
Do an E like your Zorro.
No, I'm doing it next. As with the tendrils, this is not crit, this is swash damage. That is 5d8, because I'll do an empowered arms, plus another 10. As that is 32 force damage, as on the X, I'll just take the tendrils and pile drive them into the X.
How'd you kill it?
Let's go.
It was worth
Speed
buying
run.
an obsidian sword. As the tendrils going in will almost start to like whirlwind, like a windmill, as they grind up the insides of it, before eventually reaching a point where they've almost gone so far out that they've reached the internals of the creature, including its crystal, where after I hear the shattering noise, it's just ripping it all up, as it's almost just this large crack down the dragon's back, rips up with the tendrils. As the
Can-
fire slowly starts to seep in, I'd like to imagine.
The three
Burning
of
away
you
its
give
corpse.
me dexterity saving throws.
Oh,
I will attempt to catch them with the
I'm
eddies.
assuming we get Wolfric bonus.
You'll get
Yeah.
Wolfric's bonus.
+4,
Um,
right?
You'd only be able to catch one of them with the eddies. Maybe.
I'm good on it. 23.
I will catch Radagash.
That's a good call.
Out. Wolfric's actually done pretty well on Dex, like all the time.
Give me a dex save from Eddie. Catching Ran.
Fuck
That
this
using-
dragon, am I
Is
right?
that using their stat block or is it still mine?
No, it's using theirs. Using Eddie's
I
stat
think-
block.
Oh well.
Nice.
I think we're good.
As Wolfric Eidolon, you kind of land, I'd say pretty comfortably. You kind of almost slide down the rubble, slide down its back, using a lot of the momentum just to kind of almost grind yourself to a halt. Wolfric, yours isn't as graceful. You don't tumble, you don't fall, but you kind of end up... Your axe will need a little bit of a sharpen as you almost cleave it into the stonework to kind of break your fall as you come down to the ground. Ran, you're not as lucky. As the body starts to tumble, so do you. But thankfully, the eddies come to the rescue.
Da, 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 da.
As the eagle is able to grab a hold of you and kind of bring you that little bit softer, a little bit more gently down onto the ground. As it would appear that the 4 of you have been able to deal with this young Northel.
That was a speed run.
That
Young dragon or
literally-
not, that was good.
Literally speedrun. As Eidolon, Wolfric, Marksar, with your passive perceptions, you will be able to hear the hordes coming, as well as the roars of several more dragon. This isn't a breather, or you're not going to get a breather for very long, and this small victory is definitely a small one, as it seems all of Ilvania knows you are here. As, at least for looks with passive, your only really option you seem to have is running further into the mists, unless you try and look for possibly somewhere to hide and see if you can almost wait it out.
We're nowhere near like the sea yet, are we?
You're not too sure because you're on the ground. You weren't
Oh,
when you were in the air when the Northwell attacked you.
How many people can the Eagles carry?
Comfortably, only really one.
Yeah. So
They're not like the Dragonel. They're not like Snapdragon, which is designed to be able to carry
yeah,
more.
it's not really a mount, is it?
No, they can be used as mounts, but they're not purposefully a mount. Their bodies aren't built for it.
I'm not Lords of the Ringsing the shit. Except we are kind of in Mordor.
If you were halflings, dwarfs, gnomes, then yes, the eagles could easily carry 2 apiece. But because you are larger,
In each talent.
especially at least for Wolfric, because he is larger as well, like you could get maybe you and Ran on one and Wolfric on the other, but you're not going to get their full movement.
Would it be possible from where we are, because you said the Northwell was wrapped around a tall building, which is how it kind of fought with us.
Yes. It almost looks
Would
like
it
the spire of a church or something.
Obviously this is up to Marcusar, but would it be possible for us to hide out in the top of this tower for at least a short while sending the eagle off in a direction to keep the horde running, thinking that we've not stopped here?
That's a good shout. If you suggested that to Marcusar, he would definitely agree with that. The conjure animals, it's not like they don't have a range on that.
No, they are. I think they are instantaneous until they drop to 0 or until you dispel them.
Okay, well, it's for an hour, so we have like an hour of them sort of flying away.
We'll take as much time as it takes for the sizable, because obviously these hordes are getting quite large because they heard our fight. We'll take enough time for them to move past following the eagle, then the second we can, start heading east again. Maybe send the eagle south if we're heading east.
Yeah. Okay.
It's still got to be believable as to where we're
Yeah, of
heading.
course.
It wouldn't be believable if we just sent it west, because we came from west.
Yeah, that would be idiotic of us to return. So, if we're all on the ground, we're all dismounted and all that stuff.
Let's get into
Yeah,
this church spire.
Cool. As
Keep the magic to a minimum, except from Marcusar's magic here to distract them.
Well, I just need to keep concentration. So,
as
Luckily,
you
that's
send,
not you being magical. That's the eagles. So
As you send Eddie and Eddie southward, as you guys head into this almost very ruined church building, where at one point this building looked like it probably would have been very grandiose, very beautiful. The building itself is the size of a small town, the spire reaching to the heavens, or at least at one point it probably would have. Its dedication, you're not too sure. It doesn't really appear to be one, and a lot of the colour and purity of the marble and stained glass have been completely stripped to the point where you can't really identify anything in terms of patronage or devotion. The only reason that you can probably assume church or cathedral is because of the styling and the way that it's built, is the kind of two-spired, dipped roof, long pews, stained glass, columns interior has, and well, at least for generations, for centuries, been a styling for religious buildings, or somewhat religious buildings. As
probably worth, if we're heading upstairs through stairs, knocking them out, because then the blight will probably just think it's too much work to get up to where we are.
As you head in, the stairs have already been knocked out. The tower itself isn't very stable. There isn't a lot of space, and a lot of the stairs are missing. Though one of the things that even yourself, Ranagash, will be able to notice is a lot of the floor of this place is missing as well. But not, whilst a lot of the roof, a lot of the pillars have caved over, the actual hole in the floor itself does not appear to be accidental or decay through age. As you stand beneath this kind of ruined staircase for the church bells, for the church tower, in the entrance hall, the hole itself seems to be pretty well tended to. Almost untouched.
So up or down for hiding, boys?
Down, maybe?
Probably easier and makes less noise, because I'll be able to get up, but you guys will probably have a bit more difficulty and might attract, so And if this looks tended to, maybe safe,
Yeah.
you could try head
Yeah.
down. And Eddie's being a good distraction and going off on his own adventure, so...
The Adventures of Eddie and Eddie, the spin-off series coming soon.
Will I
Guess it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let me just read. Oh, I literally just turned to the perfect page. It's not like I can feel what's happening to them. It's kind of just like they're there. So, will I know if they've like dropped to 0?
Yes, so they are still conjured, they are still connected to you. So whilst you won't know what's happening to them, you'll know if they've been dispelled, if that makes sense. Because your concentration, you're focusing on them. At least you're focusing on where they're going, you're focusing on telling them where to go.
Was it? The reading here is that if they obey verbal commands, I would have said just fly south, and if I don't issue any commands, they will defend themselves. So it's kind of like they're kind of on their own. As long as I don't break concentration, they're sorted by themselves.
They'll kind of know what to do, but you'll kind of know when that connection's almost severed, if they've been caught up or if they've been killed.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm always just sort of like feeling out for that.
All I'd say to the boys in that case is if we're heading down, if we come across anything and need to fight, just keep the magic to a minimum.
Okay.
Alright.
Ranagash is
Don't want
like,
them distracted from the distraction.
what am I supposed to do now?
Marksar grabs the sickle. they ready for this D4.
It's a plus 2.
He's gone sickle mode.
It's a +3 actually. Went up to +3.
As the 4 of you start to head down, it seems like at one point this was an addition to the church. The way that it's built seems to be that this was maybe a basement area or perhaps a lower level of worship, you're not too sure. The architecture is quite unfamiliar from here, but the cavern itself is very, very wide and, as I said, seemingly very untouched. Where, at least for the 4 of you walking down, the experiences you've had in Elvania have been dark. They have been covered by the mist. It feels very weighted, it feels very heavy. The smell is noxious, turning your stomach and almost leaving you with a fuzzy head. When you actually delve into this small cavern, that feeling seems to go away. The mist doesn't seem to follow you. And as you move further down, at least perhaps for Wulfric and Eidolon, Wulfric being that little bit more educated and learning kind of about the myths and legends of the world, the ways of old, and Eidolon, well, you spent a lot of time in the great libraries of Aramba. The kind of stories of Ilvania are not too unfamiliar to you, as littering the walls at one point perhaps were nests, kind of built into the caverns, built into the caves, left in a sodden state with quite a lot of broken shells. It would appear that at one point this was a dragon's nest. But not just a dragon's nest, it almost seems to be a ceremonial nest, as not all of the eggs are the same colour. Not all of them are the same shape, though all of them have either been broken or have at one point already hatched. It doesn't seem like there has been a dragon in this nesting ground for a very long time. But when you finally kind of come into the darkness of the caves, this kind of rubble, these ruins, where the church itself is kind of collapsed on top but left this almost pristine walkway for you to head down, you soon find why the church has been unable to cave into this area fully. You find the source of what's almost protecting the remnants of this nest, though it's perhaps not what you really expect, as suddenly the cave is illuminated by almost a soft moonlight that seems to pour, and you almost can swear you hear the sound of running water. Where from you do not know, as it seems to be pittering and patting, running through broken stone and cobble. Perhaps the stream that it once came from has been blocked by time and by ruin, as you soon start to see where the moonlight is coming from. As above you, twisting and turning into a lot of the ruins and rubble, seems to be the branches of trees. Still in bloom, still in flower, these almost sparkling green leaves that seem to just dangle and hang from the ceiling and twist to a very almost vined trunk that seems to sit on a small island at the centre of a very small pool. Something that the four of you have seen once before. Though a very, very long time ago now in your adventure, as it was back when you were travelling with Lucius. Back in the temple
Lucius.
back in the Temple of the Precursors. Though at least for one of you, this is also a site you've seen rather recently. And for another one of you, that melodic song you've been hearing in the back of your head, Paul, almost seems like a chorus, a choir down here. As you almost feel a weight lifted off of your shoulders as you come down into this space and suddenly feel very at peace, despite all of the turmoil and panic currently going through your mind. However, unlike the Temple of the Precursors, which was a very pristine pool, almost this picturesque sight, this landscape of beauty that seemed untouched by time, the tree here, whilst still in bloom, still growing and breathing life into this space, is surrounded by junk. It is surrounded by clutter. It is surrounded by ruin, tattered apparel and possibly trinkets and treasures scavenged from Ilvania. It is what would have perhaps once been a holy site, a reliquary site, has turned into a junkyard, where the island in the centre has been completely covered, only a few blades of grass even being able to be seen underneath all of, well, the crap. As curiously as well, as the four of you are kind of standing looking around, you notice that in the water as well there is small piles of clutter and junk that seem to be placed and strewn to almost create stepping stones, making a walkway from the edge of the pool where the four of you stand to the island in the middle, with not a drop of the water touching the top. It is completely dry. These stones have been completely fashioned to allow someone or something to travel across without even needing to touch the water.
I would advise we don't go in that water.
Doesn't seem likely we should go in there either.
It's clear someone has taken measures to avoid touching the water.
We should rest.
Like, do we know where this junk has come from? Is it just people have dumped it here?
It doesn't look like people have dumped it here as well, at least by your manner or your knowledge. No one's made it this far in the fissure, and the Blight don't seem smart enough to collect this stuff. Similarly, there doesn't
Dragon's Sword, isn't it?
like there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. As well, at least what you'd expect from a dragon's hoard. You'd expect shiny coins, jewels, gems, things of value and worth. Some of the stuff here are just rocks with pretty pictures on them. Or like a bit of broken marble that kinda looks nice. Or a stone that kinda looks funny. Or like a part of someone's dress, but it's not like the full dress, it's just a torn part of it, like a part of the skirt or a part of the bodice. Or there's like a waistcoat, but it's only half of the waistcoat and it's missing 3 of the buttons. Like, there's no indication that this is anything of worth, but for some reason it all seems to be piled up and almost turned into, well, a space for someone to live in.
I would like to try and step across this piles of junk to get to the centre of the pool.
As you do so, it is very shaky. It seems like whoever usually traverses this, they definitely don't weigh a lot, as you kind of trip and stumble but are able to get to the centre without getting or touching the water.
And once in the centre, can I like is there like any sort of like a route that someone has like created like through these piles? Like,
no, it's just piles.
It's just a pile.
It's just piles of junk that
I
perhaps
would like
to the
try
person.
something. Sorry, I thought you were done.
That perhaps to the
That's my
person
mistake.
that put them here, there's maybe a rhyme or reason to it, but to you, nope. There's no way to circumnavigate it. There's a very small space that you can even stand on at the start of this island. It's very out of place. As Craig, what would you do?
As Eidolon would sigh, take a look at his left-hand side for a second before going up to the water, bending down and putting his right hand in.
I can't. his left-hand side's infected, isn't it?
Yes, that was the narration.
Sorry, I can never remember if you're left or right-hand side. Nothing seems to happen when you put your left hand or your right-hand side in.
Here we go.
Directions, okay? Yes, nothing seems to happen, though you can almost feel the... Well, at this point in time, the marks are quite far across your body. You can almost feel them burn or recoil.
Ranagash, are you injured?
Yes.
This might be the same water from the spring in the temple. Can you try put your hand in it?
Can certainly try. And I'll walk over and hand in.
You get 23 HP back.
That's nice.
As
What I wish that were me.
the water almost seems to stick to your skin, Ranagash.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite unnerving at first, as the water seems to be alive, as it crawls up your arm, crawls around your body, and almost seems to seep into your wounds before healing them.
Harkasar, this is weird she water.
Oh. Suppose I would just, like, lower myself to the edge of this,
You be careful, you do have that brand now.
true. God, Summerhost was so long ago.
As Eidolon would turn to Wolfric and Ranagash, since Marcusar's already on the other side.
I'd be
If
dipping
we're
my
to-
toes in the water.
If we're to rest, we could head over there. This water injures me, so any blight that would come down would likely be injured too. I wonder, does Marcusar's toes fall off?
No. But unlike the water in Summerhost, that felt warm, it felt calming, it kind of soothed you, it rejuvenated you, this water feels cold. And is similar state to Eidolon. Whilst you can hear the melodic tunes, the water does nothing.
Can I try put my hand in?
The good boy tries.
The good boy.
Hand in.
Wolfric gets 26 hit points back. As this warm water heals your wounds, cures your injuries.
As I would like to cross the other side for the sake of resting, but how tall is the roof in here?
It is maybe about 50 feet.
Because instead of crossing across the water, which would potentially cause me danger, I'd essentially like to run along the wall up to the ceiling and then just drop so that I can fall on the island instead of risking.
You probably wouldn't even need to do
Epic
that, because the way that the tree is grown is it's grown around, so you'd be able to almost go to the edge and essentially use the branches and the vines of the tree to climb across, rather than climbing using the pedestals.
I'll just do that then, because I don't want to risk touching the water, and I can just climbing speed. So I'll do that. So I'm over with Marcusar on the island.
As the four of you start to rest, Eidolon and Marcusar,
No, that was just me talking to myself. Sorry.
as
I wasn't
Eidolon and Marcusar, you guys have the highest passive perception of the party of a 30 and a 19, and you will be able
Makes
to...
my 19 look like nothing.
Quite literally, but you know, it's still the highest there. As you boys will be able to start hearing some commotion outside. Obviously the blights start catching up, and it would appear that, at least for a little while, you boys are able to have the effects of a short rest.
Yes.
And it would appear that the blight, at least for some time, has been distracted by Eddie and Eddie. Though in the silence of Ilvania, and the commotion outside, it starts to, I guess, become eerily quiet. Which is never something that you kind of want in the mists when you're trying to track these beasts, you're trying to track this noise. As the ground above you, where all the rubble and ruin has been supported by the tree, starts to shake. A few loose stones fall into the water below and disturb your rest. As it would appear that you four are not alone, as the last thing that the four of you can hear, this bellowing voice calling out through the mists and calling into the church grounds, is not the voice of Deirdre, you can have that relief, but for Eidolon and Markasar, this is a voice that you have heard before. That of the wolf. As
Shit, the last time I saw him.
you did. As it calls out into the darkness, not knowing whether you are above or below, but knowing that you are there somewhere. There is no point in all of you dying when I'm only looking for one of you. If the rest of you wish to survive these wastes, then so be it. But, come now, Canis. They have a better chance without you. Come now, it's time to make your father proud. As I need more juice.
That's not me. I'm stealing that from a fucking Tumblr post.
It's okay, we're back from break. I need to get rid of Matthew's portents because they don't exist right now.
No, they don't.
Matthew is important. Oh wait, that's not what you said.
No, Matthew's a cinnamon roll. We established this during the break.
Too pure, too. Get the picture. Put it there.
Looks like we're being
Everyone needs
put
to
on
see
screen
how.
now.
Everyone needs to see how cozy Matthew can be.
He's already on a skip screen, so you know. As yes, we come back from break where I have some juice and we jump straight back into it with the commotion outside almost being silenced for a moment, as the four of you have the time where clearly the blights obviously can't come down here to get you, but they do appear to be quite numerous outside.
What's the plan, guys?
Okay, so I did make a suggestion during break, but I also know Ewan wasn't here, so I'll attempt to do it in RP. Well, at the very least we know who's outside now. Said person has already been brutally burned and will have had to do so again thanks to me and Renagash. We have water here that the Blight seem positively unfond of, and again, myself and Renagash can create walls of flame to make sure that the fight is a bit more isolated. What I'm saying is, if we wanted to go up and fight, we might even have a chance.
Is that the best move, though?
I don't know, it's simply an option.
I don't know what alternatives we have, though. It's my only problem.
Could I check to see if there's just any other, like, way out of this cavern?
With your passive, there is one way in, one way out. At one point there maybe would have been multiple ways down, not anymore.
Pile that with junk.
Yep, junk and rubble.
Like, we could even try unearth that. That's not even the worst idea. If the Blight can't come down here, and Wolfric is very strong.
You have a point there.
That is actually a very valid option. They also wouldn't know that we could come back up out of those ways, because they'd only know them to be blocked.
There is also a third option.
Being?
He's asking for me, right?
Yes.
I can go with them.
So what we have concluded in that case is that there is still only two options.
If we go up there and fight them, there's a good chance we could all die. But if I go, you three will survive.
This is
And-
the wolf that grants Gairdra his powers, correct? Or this is the thing connected to Gairdra, correct?
Exactly.
Surely if we kill him, Gairdra becomes a non-issue.
Exactly. And if we all go up there, and I say we, at the very least me, it'll put at least some predicament in the wolf's mind, as Gairdra will want to come out and fight himself.
Are you sure that will happen?
Nope. But also we can't be sure that if you go with them, that we'll even be able to get out.
Precisely.
There is
Oh.
no way we can know there's any truth to his word, that he would simply take you away and then leave Northals guarding the exit.
I mean, he warned us about what was going to happen to Meyer.
And?
It's not, for lack of better words, perhaps we can trust him.
I wholeheartedly disagree. He warned us what would happen in Meyer to make sure that the negative outcome would be inevitable. He made sure that we'd fight and that people would die. He knew we wouldn't have a choice.
I would say we have much of a choice now.
I would. We have the resources, and we've had at least a bit of time, where if we wanted to fight, it's an option.
What if we all die?
We're likely to all die if you go with him anyway.
He did say he just wants me, right? Did he?
At least his phrasing was, if the rest of them want to survive or try to survive in these wastes, then so be it. But there's no point all of you dying for the sake of one of you.
What she said.
But in Marcusar's voice.
Elegance.
What she said.
Who's she?
What
do you mean?
she
Who's
said?
she? And like pulls out all my holy symbols, like
The
this
soapbox
she.
comes out.
It's just like where'd you get the soapbox? The soap exists in this world. It's just... So the she is this benevolent being who controls all of nature.
Maybe you could just lecture them to death.
There's an idea. And what I'm saying is that, you know, there's no need for all of us dying if we don't have to.
You're missing the point. All of us will die. Eventually. It's an inevitable fact of life. But
At least if I go with them, I can buy you guys some time to do what needs done.
in what universe does that do that?
He said it'll let you at least try to survive the wasteland.
You know the only conversation I have ever heard from the wolf, Marcusar. It is where he twisted and broke the mind of my best friend, my brother, and turned him into what he is now. Not a word that he speaks to me is any good. And yes, I'm acutely aware that that was already in Gairdre's mind. But the The ability he had to take that and materialize that through just speaking, that is why I can't trust anything he says about us going safely. Nor can I even believe that you would have any chance of surviving for what is to come.
You were all present when we were on the wall. I'm pretty much guaranteed to die, whether it's here or executed on the wall. Eidolon, if you don't survive, I will die.
Okay, and?
You think throwing yourself to the wolves will help?
The wolf. Singular. He didn't say he wants to kill me, but he wants to kill you guys.
And what good do you do him?
I don't know.
Sure, he likely needs you for something, and then what? The only reason Gairdra is still alive is because he needs him to be able to leave the wall.
And that's what he needs you for. Marcusar, this wolf isn't a reasonable person. This wolf is a parasite, and it's looking for a new host.
Either that, or it's looking for the ability to ditch a host altogether.
I think it wants to ditch Gairdra.
Hence, my strong theory from what you've mentioned before is he wants to use you to be able to open the Dreams Door so that all of the Blight can infect all of the planes and he can move freely without having to rely on Gairdra anymore.
I won't let that happen.
Will he give you a choice?
He's sick. He's on life support. He's clinging on. He needs bodies. He needs someone to possess. He needs someone to take control of. If we can seal the Dreams Door tight, then he'll never have the ability to exist without a body, without a host.
In fact, theoretically, sealing it up would have the Blight die from Elvania.
And then he won't be able to live. His influence will wither and he will inevitably die. Gairdra is the closest thing to... He's just an incubator. He's just holding him. He's just a placeholder until the wolf can open the Dreams Door and get the ability to move freely.
And all you do by handing yourselves over is give him the chance for that to happen.
And give you guys time.
To do what?
To escape? Try and destroy the door or something. All of us going up there and dying now does no good for it. It's either we go up there, fight, likely die, and the plan goes ahead as anyway. Or at least I can try and stop him or delay him.
You underestimate our abilities as well as your own. We can take down this wolf if given the necessary amount of preparation and amount of time.
Hell, even the idea of unearthing the rubble from this place isn't the worst idea. It means we can pop up somewhere that they won't even know.
Even with his ability to move freely in the Blight, he's still weakened. This isn't his full potential. If we let him have you, he has another body, he has another way out. If we fight and we kill the wolf, Gairdra has nothing. Gairdra has very little influence over the Blight without the wolf clinging to his body.
If I go with him, he'll likely toss aside Gairdra, probably kill him, and then it's just me you guys have to fight.
Likely he's not looking for you as a host. The wolf needs somebody physically able. That was something very clear on the wall, considering he isolated Gairdra. You, Marcus, are not physically able. He needs you for he needs you for your magic. He needs you for what you can do to the Dreams Door. For that entire time, he will have no intention of casting aside Gairdra, as Gairdra is the only physically capable body he currently has. You are not a replacement. You are a tool. But to us, in your attempts to throw yourself away, you are not a tool. You are a friend who is saying that they will kill themselves.
Just want to save you guys.
So why is it unreasonable for us to want to do the same? Sorry, Ewan. I think we were going for the same thing.
I just think you guys are worth a lot more than me.
We travel as 4, not as 3. Each of us holds our own value here. And each of us has value outside of here. maybe you think that we'd be better off, but what of your flock? And I know you blame yourself for what's happening to them, but they still want to see you home. The least you can do is make it back to them.
I've said my piece, but I won't go against everyone else.
Thank you. You mean a lot more to us than I think we let on, Marcusar.
Absolutely. We're not gonna let you cast yourself aside.
If it seems like the fight is hopeless, would you let me go with him to spare you three?
The fight is hopeless. We're going down swinging. There is no deal we cut. Save my mother's life, I'm not letting you throw away yours.
Then what's the plan?
Well, as listed, we have two options. If we want to fight, we need to do so quickly. He'll still be licking his wounds from the flames me and Ranagash created. Even still, when we go up there, we can make those again. We can even wrap ourselves so it's just us and him. If we're doing that, we need to collect some of this water. If it hurts me and you, Marcusar, just by mildly grazing it, imagine how much it could do with full contact. If we don't want to do that, which is completely valid, we can start unearthing some of this rubble. Clearly they can't come down, which gives us as much time as we want to make ourselves a new exit.
I'll start filling up some containers with holy water.
There is enough junk here that you probably could manage that. A lot of them are without stoppers, but there is enough ties and leather that you can make stoppers for them.
Ranagash, can you also do that? Because me and Marcusar can't really touch the water.
I can certainly cry.
Does the water look like it runs anywhere, or is it completely still? Is there any current?
There is at the far end of the room, a trickle coming through some broken rubble, but that's about as much movement as you get. At one point this may have been stream fed or even ocean fed, but at this point you don't know how far that rubble goes.
I'm just thinking we could try and dig our way out of here, but who knows, it could just keep going down. There might not be a way out.
I mean, just a quick fast test, Wolfert could try break the area of rubble where that trickle's coming in to see if there's potentially a larger reservoir that it's leaking in from.
I'll try punch. I'll try hitting it with the butt of my axe.
Put your lumbering skills to good use.
Give me a strength.
Just a strength check.
Oh, no athletics.
24.
Oh, doesn't fucking need it though!
You kind of dislodge some of the rubble, pull away some of the loose rubble, send it kind of tumbling, a few stones careening into the water. The stream seems to stop for a moment, but does re-continue, but not at any quickened pace.
Right. There's not much behind there.
So it's a bit too deep.
So, making some grenades with this holy water.
Not a bad option. As I'd
That we will throw with our hands, a holy hand grenade, if you will.
I'm gonna try something because I believe I may have an idea.
Please do.
It may not do much. It may not do anything. I'm gonna take out the axe and I'm gonna plunge its head into the water.
By the power of Grayskull!
You now have a very wet axe head. Whether that does anything or not, you're not too sure, but it's a very wet axe head.
And it's a wet axe head made of sunlight.
To be fair, the water sticks to things, so if you smack into someone and it sticks to them, that could just be a fucking napalm axe.
Alright, I'm gonna take it, axe out, axe over shoulder, and I'm gonna start heading up. And we're gonna start...
Just before that, sorry, Ewan, I'm gonna do the same actually. I'm gonna take the longsword and also plunge it. I just have to make sure to not touch myself with that.
I guess I'll dip the blade of my sickle in there as well.
Matthew,
Ran.
hand axe.
Do I have to complete the set?
I mean, I feel you have to at this point, Ran.
Fine, I'll just take out my dinky little hand axe and...
Don't be left out with a
It's still got the plastic on it.
Baby's first hand axe.
That one frequently uses it.
Ran has a habit of running to a distance and casting.
I mean, that's his entire thing.
Do you guys potentially want me to try go first, attempt a stealth, so that I can potentially try and lock us in a wall of fire with him? If it fails, we'll be seen, but we'll be seen anyway.
Was it remind me of like this cavern that we're in. Was it like a very obvious like that's where you are? You know? No, wait, no. He said we don't. He doesn't know where we are, but he was like.
He knows
Come
you're
out.
in the building. He just doesn't know where you are in the building.
Okay. He doesn't know there's like this entrance to the cavern.
You're not too sure. Though if the blights can't get very close to here, then there's a good chance he doesn't know what's inside this building.
Okay. Okay, then yeah, Eidolon could attempt a stealth.
I'll give a shot. No promises, obviously. But... Oh, I've got my bonus action teleport back. That's huge. Okay, that is a 15. That's not great. So we'll probably be seen. But
It's not too bad.
we would have been seen stealth or not, so I'm not concerned.
As can the three of you make me perception checks since Eidolon is stealthing?
10.
Oh, spaghetti.
Nice.
Oh, these are some fantastic. Oh, Marcus, sorry.
Matthew with the non-natural one. As Eidolon, you begin to obviously stealth around, climb up. It is very apparent that even though a lot of the mist settles within these church grounds, it would appear that a lot of the blights can't actually get into this area, or at least don't want to get into this area. You can see their shadows almost surrounding the building, but they're almost just waiting. They're not clambering, they're not screaming, they're not clawing, they are just standing, waiting. As you kind of come out of the hole and start to stealth around. Moving around towards the ruined tower and towards the rubble of the staircase to try and get a better view and to try and see where the blight is and where the commotion is, as the group kind of, well, the three of you start to make your way out of the cavern, keeping behind and almost waiting for Eidolon's signal, where you can see him standing in the courtyard of this church, where perhaps a fountain once would have stood, with his Northul behind him. However, when you get up and when you get out, and for at least for all three of you, even with your low passive perceptions, you will start to hear commotion, but only Marcusar with your 25 will be able to hear, I guess, a bit more than just commotion. As Eidolon, you can see that the crowds, the hordes of blight start to part and start to scatter.
Oh?
Not running towards anything, not clambering or piling on top of anything, but actually running away from something.
Have we struck luck?
Well, that
I mean, something
depends.
does live here.
That depends on your luck. As with your passive perception of 30, stupid passive perception, you are able to see something dart between the hordes, almost touching them as it goes. As the closer it gets, and this is what you'll start to be able to hear, Marcusar, is there's almost like popping noises, or almost like tiny explosions that start to appear throughout the crowds, as something is just clearing a path for itself. You can't really make out what, you can't really make out what it's doing, but it just seems to be popping the heads of several of the blights as it's moving through, creating this catastrophic wave that seems to be repelling or turning the rest of them.
Does that give up? My question is, does this appear to have the wolf distracted?
Enough so that, at least as it starts to barrel towards him, he flies away.
He's fucking leaving?
As, quite quickly and quite deftly, you're not too sure what and you're not too sure why. Obviously, with the wolf in control, there is that little bit more of logic there, so clearly he knows what he's doing in comparison to if Gairdra was here. As the shadow of quite a thin figure seems to swing around one of the necks of his Northul. Quite close to its head, you're not even too sure how it got there, as it disappears almost as quickly as it appears, as it leaves behind almost a brand on its head. And the moment the wolf gets a sniff of this, gets a whiff of this, even gets a sight of what this is, he and his fly off very quickly. Where you've seen this done a couple of times in terms of the Northul's movements, where it gets maybe 120 feet, 130 feet in the air and then is enveloped in the mist and disappears. As it would seem the wolf wants to take absolutely no chances with whatever this thing is. As the Northul that now appears to have this brand on it seems to now be quite happily tearing and shredding into several of the blighted creatures, as well as the other Northul that was left behind. As for yourself, Eidolon, you are almost watching this occur from the shadows with the three boys taking up the rear. You can almost see Eidolon, well, Wolfric, Marksar, Ranagesh, past perception isn't high enough. You have no idea where Eidolon is.
Nope.
The two of you will be able to see Eidolon kind of buried himself kind of behind the rubble, keeping himself out of the way, just watching this chaos ensue, as the wolf is nowhere to be found and the Northul seems to be fighting each other.
I'll just turn to the three of them, something that will probably surprise Ranagesh as he can't see me, and just say, "The wolf ran."
Well, I guess we didn't account for that.
Didn't account for whatever the hell that is. Pointing at the Northuls fighting each other.
Do we intervene?
Do we need to?
Marksar pulls up a pew.
Starts taking bets.
So my money's on the one on the left. If I carried money, that is.
Yeah, I was about to say, you don't have
Do
any.
you want a silver piece for the sake of betting, Paul?
How about a ration?
One bit of jerky for the one on the left. Eidolon is absolutely bemused. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the word. Yeah, bemused is the right word. Confused, puzzled, or bewildered.
Bemused works. As it would appear, the, I guess, branded Northul, this kind of almost green handprint that appears on the side of its face, does appear to win. A lot of the blighted creatures are either killed, decimated, or scurry and scamper, not even caring about the four of you. Something here is almost acting as a repellent, as a lot of them just turn. However, when the other Northul has, I guess, been killed and partially consumed, as it's ripped and torn into, from above you, maybe from somewhere in the ruined tower, you're not too sure, the four of you will be able to see a very bright flash of light. A very strange, almost black and green spark that seems to split through every crack and every crevice as the branded Northul turns to dust.
We definitely did not account for this.
Strange thing for yourself, Eidolon, even its heart has turned to dust.
Oh, it's completely dead.
It doesn't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
No, it does not feel good at all. As technically all four of you will start to hear the clipping of heels, but not like walking, almost bouncing or skipping down the ruined tower.
Turn to Wolfric here and just ask, Wolfric, when we were in Gairdre's house, you found a note about something in Ilvania, right?
Yes.
What did it say about that?
Ian, hi Ian. Oh, here we go. There's a big... Or out of character. Because, do you want this clarified out of character or in character?
Completely up to you. I asked in character, so you can clarify out of character and then just say what Wolfric would say.
So basically, there's some kind of giant insect going around killing things in the Blight.
Okay.
Oh no.
It might be part of the Scourge, and Gairdre's notes were that no matter his attempts, he couldn't control it.
This is lining up well.
But he wants it alive. He wants it captured alive.
Also makes sense. It could also explain why they ran, because they didn't have a chance.
There's some crazy big bug. It's part of the Scourge. It seems to be killing things. Gairdre can't control it. He's royally fucked off about that.
Well, something did just kill a rather large quantity of blight out there.
Rather impressively so.
And appears to be approaching us.
Well, let's see. Let's hope it doesn't get too bad.
Oh no, you've been rather good at making friends, Wolfric.
I'll get to the front then. Kind of stand.
Stand, possibly readying. I'm assuming not hostile, but at the same time very defensive. As the clipping,
I'll use my channel divinity. I'll use my channel divinity.
The friendship button.
Essentially,
The friend
yes.
button.
When I press this button, you are more inclined to like me.
As the clicking seems to almost stop, where Wolfric, Eidolon, Marksar, you are able to hear almost something get wedged into the stone, and almost something land. Very similar to, I guess, the dexterity you've come to see from Eidolon in terms of the jumping and the flipping. As almost perched in the wall, mind you, is a almost knotted and gnarled quarterstaff. Something that looks like it's been built or fashioned out of whatever has been left lying around Ilvania. This kind of knotted and twisted wood that has been tied together with very rotted leather straps. Where perched on the end of it, seemingly weightless, like this staff should be falling, is what looks like a half-elf. They have those pointed features, slightly pointed ears, though like Eidolon, at least at this point, they look almost infected by the blight. Most of their face, in fact half of their face, most of their right hand side, all of their right hand arm is this kind of almost twisted purple colour that seems to be laced with almost these black and green veins that seem to be pulsing with quite a dark light. Where, kind of staring down at you, the thing that strikes you as a bit odd is they look maybe only 12, 13 years old. They are very, very young. And for Eidolon, and well I guess for the rest of you considering you've been on the wall now as well, they're wearing watchman's garb. They have the blue linen shirt, they have a few parts of the plate, they have the boots, they even have part of the cloak that they've tied around their waist to use almost as a sash or a skirt. But the thing that strikes you as odd is it's very mismatched. Their shoes don't match, one of them is clearly a lot bigger than the other as there is linen wraps inside to keep it in place. The plate armour they are wearing, they're only wearing half of it, and part of a shoulder pad, part of a pauldron they're actually using to protect their leg. It's not a leg piece, it's an arm piece. Everything seems very disjointed and very mismatched as they look down at you, keeping their distance, perched on the end of the staff, almost leaning forward, using their boots, using their feet to latch on and keep their balance. As they kind of just look down at the four of you, speaking in this tongue that sounds relatively melodic, despite, well, for Eidolon and Ranagash, and also for Marksar to some degree, having heard this tongue before in a much more guttural language. This is almost as if someone was singing or humming it. As they kind of just look down, cock their head. He'll let you some.
Is this perchance deep speech?
It is. They're asking who you are.
What are they saying?
They're just asking who we are.
Hello, friend. My name is Wolfric Reinbrandt. This is Ranagash. This is Eidolon. This is Marksar.
You kind of see them stop for a moment, almost look down.
I'll switch to deep speech and just ask, do you understand common?
They kind of blink and look at you. Hop down off their staff, pulling it from the wall as they do so, and walk very, very close to you, Eidolon, like almost like face staring at you. He is very short, kind of shaggy brown hair that probably only comes up to your chest, but he stands on his tiptoes and tries to stare you in the face, almost looking round you, as he seems very confused, and he just kind of goes, yes.
Sort of look back towards Wolfric, who's a bit more radiant at the moment.
Excellent. It's very nice to meet you. Do you have a name?
Name? As he kind of turns around and looks at you.
Has anyone ever called you anything? Do you have a way to refer to yourself?
He kind of spins the staff around and more kind of takes a step away from Eidolon. They call me Hyde.
Hyde. Well, it's nice to meet you, Hyde. Can I ask what you're doing out here?
Hiding?
Is that what you use the spring downstairs for?
Yes.
I take it you're not a fan of Gairdra either.
He kind of cocks his head. Who?
The body the wolf is using.
Who?
the wolf?
The man who was here who flew away on the dragon.
He has not bothered me.
How long have you been here?
As long as I can remember.
Okay.
Wolfric, we've never had a watchman in our records with that name, so
It's very likely that he calls himself Hyde because that's what he does.
I'm fully aware it's more that, by the look of his age, we've never seen anybody who looks like this on the wall, or act like this.
Did you said they call you Hyde. Who's they?
The ones that do not breathe. You do breathe, and therefore I recommend that we hide. They will be back.
So, we can go hide. The blighted ones are the ones who do not breathe. They can talk.
This tongue I learned from the ones who breathe and are killed. This is not my first tongue.
You speak it very well for someone who's only heard it in passing from people who die.
People talk a lot before they die.
So what is your quarrel with the Blight then, the things that don't breathe?
They come after me.
Do you know why?
No.
Because he breathes.
I don't think
I
he
do not
does.
breathe.
Have you changed at all in your memory? Gotten any taller or shorter?
I
Bigger
grow.
or small? You get bigger.
I have never needed to breathe.
Do you need to eat?
He kind of looks at you very confused.
Simple question, the water downstairs, does it burn?
Yes. It stops the blight from getting to me.
Does it burn you?
Yes. It's why I made my path.
Oh, so that was you. Once we have hidden, there's a place we need to go. Would you mind guiding us in the direction?
Where?
What's the exact name of the location we're looking for again, Eidolon?
He's likely near the fissure.
The fissure.
Though if you don't know that name, the
Big spooky hole.
crack that emanates the shadows, but Wolfric put it more eloquently.
I don't know about a spooky hole or a crack, but I know the tower.
Not made of bone, perchance.
Yes.
Well, it's nice to see that myth and legend occasionally comes true. That's where we're going.
That is where we're going. Would you be willing to lead us to it?
You'll probably die.
We are aware of this. I can offer you an item in exchange.
What item?
You say you don't need to eat, but have you eaten before? Have you put things in your mouth and then chewed and swallowed them? Have you done that before?
No. What is the point?
Food tastes good. It is a pleasant experience.
Wolfric, if he's mainly blight, I don't think he'd be able to taste.
Okay.
As good as your grilled cheese are, I think they'd be wasted on him.
Why do you recommend we hide?
Because they come back. And they look for me, and they look for you.
But we're looking to stop them being here. We're looking to get rid of them. And that's why we're going to the tower. Would you lead us there?
I know a way.
Would you take us that way? Please?
You say the blight bothers you.
Yes.
If we help you, the blight will cease to bother you.
If we promise you that the blight will stop bothering you, will you lead us there?
If you want to go, I will go.
What is this way there? It's not just straight.
It is further north. Through a part of the ruins that have collapsed.
I suppose we have no other option, but lead on.
First, I rest.
Alright, that's valid.
as he kind of almost skips past, heading down into the cavern or heading back down into the cave, kind of stopping at the entrance and turning back to the four of you. You can come.
We will follow him.
As you notice, as he starts to move down, he almost starts blinking in and out of existence, moving maybe varieds of maybe 10, 20, 30 feet down, almost darting back and forth.
I would stop the party just before heading down and just say, I think it goes without saying, but we need to be careful with this.
Because we've been so careless so far.
You know, when I was told we were going across a wall into a deeply cursed land where nothing lives, I didn't expect to run into fucking Peter Pan.
My main query is I don't know what... I have read that. I don't know what Peter Pan's intentions are.
Well, whatever... He doesn't seem malicious, he just seems like he's never experienced anything outside of this fucked up hellhole.
Which shouldn't be possible.
He also seems to be flickering.
Also, shouldn't be possible.
Like he's... So we've established that he's not completely here. Is probably half-blight and likely should not exist.
Well, the notion of something being half-blight would mean it shouldn't exist in the first place. Something is either full blight or it is dead.
We have encountered an anomaly.
Which is why, even if his intentions are alright, we should be careful. We have no idea what it is.
Arm's length.
I can agree with that.
But we don't hurt him unless he hurts us. This is still a child.
Of course not. He doesn't seem to even know what he's doing for the most part. I would guess that even if he did harm us, it would probably be by accident. Or in self-defense.
This... I can't tell if he was the insect that Gerger was referring to, if him being an insect was metaphorical or literal.
For now, we hedge our bets and say yes, because that means that means we've found a good lead. And it's worth being optimistic. Yep.
When you head down, he has already gone on to the little island in the centre, where he is almost raking through the trash, raking through the garbage, using his quarterstaff to mostly knock several things out of the way as he seems to be looking for several things. As he does kind of toss several bits and pieces from the pile over the water and on the other side, creating a small pile of seemingly useless trinkets, a few feet of rope, a couple of wooden almost planks or slats, almost metal poles or spikes that would have maybe once been part of like a metal railing fence, where to him there seems to be rhyme and reason to it, as he's clearly picking out all of these items, but he doesn't seem to be, or at least to the four of you, they don't seem to be any real reason to why he'd need these items in specific.
What are you doing, if I may ask?
Gathering things.
I can see that. What are you trying to gather?
Things I don't want to leave behind.
Ah. You have quite an eclectic collection.
They are things I find.
I imagine there's not really much here, so you must hold on to the things you like.
I try, but some things are useful.
Yes.
Such as?
As he kind of holds up another one of these almost metal like poles, but this one has like a little hook. Probably at one point it would have been the end of maybe a harpoon or a fishing pole. As he kind of just looks up, holds it up, this, and tosses it onto the pile.
And pray tell, what use would you have for that?
To find other things. Stabbing things?
I mean, do you not have to defend yourself against the Blight? Do they not attack you?
No.
He merely touched them outside Wolfric and they exploded.
No, I use them to get other things. I use them to find the passages. And walking on the surface with people who are breathing, rather than people who are dead, means we will likely find more of these blight. So we will take the passages. And I need ways to open the doors.
Okay.
That explains enough for me.
I'm gonna divine sense.
Oh, it's paladin time.
It's paladin time.
Now, it will tell me if he is an undead. However, it will also tell me if he's a fiend or a celestial. So it means that because my current prevalent theory right now is that he is some kind of demigod. And that's why he can just wander. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need to sleep. Or he says he needs to rest, but he doesn't need to eat. And the things don't attack him, and also they explode if he touches them.
So, when you divine sense Wolfric, obviously a lot of the area around here is hallowed, being a sacred place, a temple place, likely why the Blight can't touch it. Strangely enough, despite not having any living features, and obviously noting to the four of you that he can't breathe, Hyde doesn't appear as being undead. He also doesn't appear as being a Fae or Celestial, or Fiend, sorry. By your divine senses, he's just a regular kid.
Wolfric kind of blinks a couple of times and goes, "That can't be possible. That doesn't make any sense."
This motherfucking Tom Bombadil.
Wolfric, are you okay? This is new.
You know that thing that I can do, where I can tell if something's an undead, or like a devil, or like an angel?
Scarcely, you've only brought it up a few times.
I just used that. He's completely normal.
I mean, no offense to your abilities, Wolfric, but clearly he is not.
That's exactly why I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You don't see me also agreeing with you here?
I simply have no other perspective to bring.
I don't know what he is.
Ranagash, is this magic you can discern?
I could certainly try.
Whether that's known magic or if that's magic.
Yeah, so I suppose I shall detect magic on this boy.
Can you give me a con save, Ranagash?
Oh no, that is bad.
Oh, spaghetti.
I thought you were okay at these.
He's a wizard!
He's a whacking wizard.
Yeah, but he's not like me. He actually likes to have a modifier to his con. That's
he's
not
actually
negative. So you are not blinded. As there are obviously a lot of things in this room, there are a lot of things in this area that are magical. Obviously you're attempting to detect Hyde, just to see if he himself is magical. He is like the beacon of Gondor. Every inch of him, every bit of him, apart from the clothes he is wearing, the quarterstaff he is holding, is magical. He is almost like a focus himself. He is the source of some form of magic.
I'm getting the exact wording of detect magic. Is there any specific school of magic he is?
He is a little bit of everything, though not unsurprising, the most prevailing school is necromancy.
Yes, all I get. But yeah, okay, that's. It's nice. It's a good day to not be blind.
It's a good day to have eyes.
He's magic, all right.
Anything more, or
he's like powerful, like blindingly powerful.
well, I'm happy he doesn't seem to want to kill us, at least.
But if he's so powerful, why... if he can dispatch with the Blight as easily as he did, then why hasn't he... He can't seal the fissure or anything?
By the sounds of it, there's only one person in this room who would have the option to do that. And secondly, as Wolfric has already made point of, he's a kid by the look of it. He might not even know that that's an option. All he seems to care about is surviving.
How do you survive in a place like this? Oh, he doesn't eat or drink or anything.
It doesn't look like he should be surviving. But the lack of solution says that, well, clearly he is. Listen, I got nothing. This is supposed to be the things I know, and I know nothing about this. Unless any of you three can provide a magical explanation, nothing really we can do.
This is beyond any of us.
As Eidolon would more just take the chance to sit down and rest. Still keeping an eye on this boy, not trusting at all. Trying to rest.
So we just sort of resting here for now.
I mean, is there anything else we can really do?
You have been given the space to
Well, like
rest.
we're stumped. We've been stumped by whatever this person is.
Well, yeah, we had a very solid plan, and then that plan just kind of it went up in smoke, but surprisingly not in an awful way.
It went up in confetti.
So it's like, unless any of you three want to do anything, it's like I can think of nothing Eidolon would do right now except just watch and try to understand whoever or whatever this kid is.
Yeah.
Try to create a bank of questions.
It's also a good time for a long rest.
Long rest, guys. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
If you guys want, that is.
Well, if the wolf comes back and this kid can just pop heads like that when he's already apparently tired, then I don't think we need to worry if we're flanked. I think we just found the equivalent of a nuke in a basement.
Quite literally.
Fucking superb, you funky little strange boy.
As do any of you take watches, or do you leave it to hide?
I'll probably take a watch.
We're pretty protected in here as we are, so I think. But like,
That's also. Yeah, I'm sorry, Paul.
was it like hide? You know, is hide. So I think we're like good for now. But maybe it's just nice if one of us kept a watch, just in case hide isn't trustworthy.
Like, I'll obviously stay up, but we already know that this place is somewhere that the Blight can't go. So it's like, if,
Yeah.
like, I'll stay up on a watch, and if he just comes down and then just leaves again, there's no real point of waking up anybody else for a watch. And also, Marksar, you'll have your 4 hours rest. Because that's all you need is an elf.
Yeah. So I can do it. I can take a watch.
Yeah, you can just make sure that Hyde isn't trying to slit our throats.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't know what stabbing is, so you know.
He could know what slashing is.
Yeah, you didn't check that one.
But no, apart from that, we have no reason to mistrust this place. So,
Even if you mistrust
I'd
the
say-
person in it.
I'd say we're good for now.
I wouldn't say we mistrust the man.
It's kind of why I said mistrust instead of distrust. It's like we do not distrust him. It's just we don't know where /what he is or what he can do yet.
He's very strange.
Well,
don't
we
know.
fit right in.
If you ever get him asleep, maybe you could do some anatomical investigations.
But no, I'm with Wolfric. Pretty much bedtime.
Yeah.
As with the four of you resting, obviously taking some intermittent watches between Eidolon and Marksar, we will save the rolling of Matthew's portents, and doink, we will save the beginning of your adventures with Hyde for next time, where you guys will get to adventure into a place where no one has been before. As technically you're going under the ruins, not over them.
Better than dying.
Well, you say that. We'll see what's waiting for you down there.
Combat.
As for now, it is goodbye from me. And as always, it is goodbye from my boys.